What is going on?
Man, chilling, bro.
Morning,
Yes.
everybody.
What is up, man? Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so yesterday, uh, Big was like, "Hey, send me a picture of that Wolverine card you got on your table." And I'm like, "All right." And he's like, "Hey, bro, you got to go get that thing graded." And bro, I pulled that thing out of a pack like in the early '90s. It's a '90 something card. I was still
95.
in okay '95. He's like, bro, if that thing's in perfect condition, it's worth like $450. And I was like, my Wolverine card? I was like, oh my Lord. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, dude, I remember like all my I always knew cards could be worth something. And every time I bought one or pulled one that and again, that I thought, I didn't know all the cards. I guarantee you there's some cards missing somewhere that I didn't pay attention to, but anytime it was something that I liked or I knew was a valuable player, I would always pull it. Like, as soon as I pull it out of the pack, I put it in a sleeve and um, put it in like some sort of harder case afterwards. And that thing's never been touched. But if it's not perfect lined up, it's automatic 9, isn't it? Like, if everything about it is immaculate except
Well,
the lining, it's
yeah, you're talking about like the centering.
yeah, the centering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, did you line it up with that 10 that I sent you though? Because if you look at
Well, I
that
didn't.
10 and then look at yours, it looks pretty
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, no, I mean, I looked at it the best that I could with my eyes, and it looks the same to me. So, but it's just crazy how one number will make it go from like $400 or $500 to $100.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if the centering, here's the thing though, if the centering is a 9 and everything else is a 10, then it's going to grade a 10.
Oh, okay, I see. Oh,
Now, if the centering grade was an 8, it wouldn't matter. All the rest, you could have all 10s on the rest, and all they would give you is a 9. Because whatever the lowest grade is on, say, centering, they can only give you
yeah,
1 point higher if everything else
yeah.
was a 10. Yeah.
Well, I have King Griffey Jr.'s rookie card. I have a bunch of them, but one particular one, it's the Fleer, so it's gray. The background's gray,
Yep. Yep.
and it's dude. I'm telling you, this is another one that I pulled out of the pack, and it went straight into a sleeve, straight into a case, and then when I pulled them out, remember here recently, I told you, it's been over 20 years. I pulled them out and I put it in this, the case that the Mickey Mantle's in,
Yeah.
that thick plastic case. Well, the Ken Griffey's in one of those now. I just recently put it in one of them, and dude, it's a 10. The only thing that would make it not a 10 is the way the centering. It's not the centering's not perfect, but it's
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
I would just get the one I would get your rookies specifically. That mantle for sure you need to send in, no doubt.
Yeah,
But
especially after showing me
get all your
what.
rookies together though, and then what I'll do is if you want I can hook you up with the guy that I go to get your cards cleaned and prepped, and he'll tell you exactly what he thinks they'll grade for, and then you know
Yeah,
for
no, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about doing it, just so they're at least rated. And just by looking at that one mantle that you sent me uh, a photo of, that 3, I think it was a 3, right? Or no, it was a 1. The
no,
one
I
that's
sent
all
you a
bent
one
up.
and a three. I sent you one
Oh,
and a
okay,
three.
yeah. The first one, yeah, is a 1. Dude, if that thing's a 1, mine's at least a 3, dude. Because there's only the top left corner has a slight like line in it, but there's no damage on the back, like none.
I think
So
that bend in the corner though, I mean that might really get you though. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't expect a 3. I'm just letting you know I wouldn't expect
well,
a
no,
3.
I'm saying this is what I mean. like for that one card to be a 1, it's or what am I saying? That one has worse damage than mine. So I'm saying even if it was a 1, you know, I obviously I understand, but it's still better condition.
Right.
Is what I'm. It's in better condition. Has no damage in the back. And
if PSA wants to give your grade on the surface, if they want to give you a 1, the best you can get is a 2. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I understand. I guess the only thing I'm pointing out is how that card is worse damaged than mine. Is really what I'm getting at.
Right. No, that other one was pretty roughed up.
Yeah, the one was rough, dude. Like, yeah. and that's what I'm saying. The 3 that I saw, it's about equal damage, is what I mean. The damage is about the same as that 3. So even if it is a 2, you know, but will they grade it a 0 or they just send it back?
No, they would just send it back.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of times with those older ones, though, they're not. I mean, they're not gonna send it back. The only time they ever really send them back is if it's not a real card.
Oh, God,
yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh man, it happens all the time, bro. Happens all the time.
If I have multiple of one card and I destroy the multiples, does that make the 1 more valuable?
That's funny.
Depends on your card, and let's just say if it's a serial and you destroy 9 of them.
You're cutting out bad, bro. Like you just started.
If you destroy 9 of the 10, and let's just say you have all 10 of 10, and you destroy 9 of the 10, it's still out of 10. It don't make it a 101.
Yeah. I think when because they have you know, certain cards that, you know, when me and you were talking the other day that some of them are, when they get them rated, that they're 10s, and then they'll say, okay, well, out of the 10s, we've rated 1,000, so there's 1,000 10s.
Yep.
And more than likely, you know, there's 1,000 to maybe 800 people that own those, because some of the people are going to have 3 of them or 4 10s. And there was a guy I was watching when I pulled these cards out. He had, I mean, it was crazy what he had. You have to know who he is, Big. He has literally every type of, I mean, he has them all, bro. All the Mickeys, all the babes, and they're 10. They're mint pristine 10s, dude. And he's known as like the godfather of cards.
Okay.
And
okay.
He's got them all. And so they invited a guy to come to his house. And I don't know who the guy is, but the guy recently started up a card, like, he's got an app and everything about these cards, man. Like, he's...
No, I know who you're talking about. Did he interview a guy at his own basketball court? Did he show, like, a bunch of...
Well, I don't know if he interviewed that guy, but the one I'm talking about specifically, he was in the guy's house. And they have, you know, they were sitting across from each other, like at a dinner table. And the guy had, you know, cardboard boxes that were full of rated, you know, 10 or pristine 10 or whatever. What do you call it when it's the best quality?
Yep.
Okay, well, he had all
10s.
of them. We're talking, PSA 10s. Bro, he had them all. All the ones that we would, like, choke on, you know, Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle, but we're talking pristine.
That's
and he had
crazy.
all of them. And so I'll try to see if I can find his name, but he's known, like, he goes to museums and puts some of his cards there for like weeks at a time, and then, you know, obviously takes them back or whatever.
Right.
But
Right.
he just poured them. When I use the word pour, like I'm telling you, like a cup of water. He poured the cards all over the table, like just dumped them, and was like, bam. I mean, they're just everywhere. I was like, oh my lord, dude, this is
But if
crazy.
you think if you think about it, man, like those guys back when, you know, let's just say the 80s and 90s, you know what I'm saying, and back when people were collecting cards like that, dude, there's some people that held on to that stuff and didn't buy it at a 10 like today, you know, because like today, you know, you take, you know, like I was telling you, that Mickey Mantle rookie, that PSA 10 that just sold, it sold for over $60 million. Okay.
Yeah.
But that guy in 1990, he bought it for 50 grand. So
yeah.
all these guys that kept their, you know, Babe Ruths, their Mickey Mantles, you know, all that stuff, and got it graded back in that time, dude. You know, PSA, you know, you're holding on to your 10s forever, and then you don't bring them to the light of day, dude. Oh yeah, man. I mean, there's people, dude. Didn't you take cards and put them in your bike wheels to make noise, bro? Because that's what I did.
No, let me tell you. Hey, let me tell you. The first time that I thought about doing that, my dad said, "Hey, what are you doing?" Because I took my cards outside. But but you gotta understand. You know, hey, do you know which ones I was gonna use? It was gonna be the yellow Fleers.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm gonna stick them in my." And my dad, bro, he's the one that said, no, don't do that. That's the mistake we made. He said, don't do that. And I said, what do you mean? And he started to, I didn't know, bro, at that age, I wasn't thinking that they would be worth something like that. I just saw it more as a collectible. I didn't understand that, you know, because I was real young. And he said, no, he goes, we used to buy the pack of cards just to get the gum out of it. And most of us would just, you know, put the cards under our bed or, you know, and we didn't know that they were going to be worth anything.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, lo and behold, you know, you got these Mickeys out here running around and, you know, costing, you know, people buying them, you know, for a lot of money. He said, we had all those cards. He goes, but I didn't know. He goes, don't do that.
I don't know if that's worth anything, but I've had that since I was a little kid, bro. I've had this forever, bro.
You need to put that in a case, bro.
Yeah, I got them in here, bro. I just pulled it out right now so you can see it.
Oh yeah, I got a couple of those booklets there, Dre. I got a couple of those.
I got a Dion, bro. That's my favorite player right there, boy.
Yeah, that's the man.
Yeah, the Topps Golds are pretty cool.
That's the man, dude. I got Dion's rookie card, his baseball and football.
I think I told you I got a Michael Jordan Dream Team card. That one's in the case.
Is it gray?
I'll show you right now. Hold on. Give me a second.
Dream Team. I think it's sounds like.
I just picked up a Barry Sanders rookie card, the 90 or the 89 score. I picked one up for 50 bucks.
The orange one.
The green border.
Oh, green border. Okay.
Yep.
And he was that dude too, bro. Ricky Waters was that dude, bro.
Oh yeah, dude. Ricky Waters was. Hey man, did you watch the 49ers Chargers Super Bowl? That's when Ricky Waters went off, man.
Yeah, Ricky was low key that dude, bro.
He was good.
Yeah, it was good, big time. You know, I really stopped watching sports. Like not like completely, but pretty much, man. Hey, what are you doing?
Living life. He's just living life.
That's what he's doing. Hey, get over there. No, as soon as I joined the service, man, like I just didn't have time. Like I just didn't, dude. I was at the range like all the time. Like I didn't have time to do any other thing. So in a real short period of time, like 3-4 years, you know, I'd have my friends talking about, a lot of people did, even the people I was in the service with. They're like, it's like we just forgot about sports, you know. But I would come home, visit family and friends, and they're like, hey man, you're gonna watch the game? And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, well, who plays now, you know? And you just see that some players left, you know, and you're like, wow, bro, like just in a matter of a few years, teams are
That's a nice
changing.
card, dude.
Who is that? Oh yeah,
Michael
cool.
It's a 94 card.
94, yep.
Yeah, look, go back to the front. Oh, that's a cool card.
Yeah. So I picked up a bunch of his early 90s, mid 90s cards. And I'm just sitting on them.
Yeah,
I'm just going to sit on him. I'm going to wait till he passes away.
Yeah.
My mom a bunch of years ago had the opportunity to pick up an autographed Derek Jeter rookie card, and the guy talked her right out of it.
Talked her out of what?
She had the opportunity to buy an autographed Derek Jeter rookie card.
Oh man!
And and they had the picture of him signing the card too, so there was no way to deny that it was an authentic signature. And the guy talked her out of it. Said, well, he's not going to be that good. He's not supposed to be any kind of good at all. Like, he's supposed to be, in AAA or 2 years and done and back in the minors, and he's just not.
Okay. So what's the time frame here? Someone talked her out of buying one 2 days after he signed it, or what year are we talking? Because that matters.
Yeah, it was the
year
back in '93 or.
Yeah, it was the year it was printed. His rookie.
So
card.
It was the rookie year.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a.
She had the opportunity to buy it for I think she said it was $60, and one just sold recently for 5 or 6 figures.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, man, how many times has a card came out and everybody's like, dude, the stats this person, if this continues, this card's gonna be worth a lot of money, and then 5 years down the road, you could have spent $200 on it. 5 years down the road, it's worth 25 cents. Yeah, so it's.
Dude, yeah, it's hindsight.
I have a few now that I wonder what the prices are, because I can't find prices for any of some.
What's the player? What's the player?
It's a Dak Prescott from when he was. It's printed, I think last year, but it's a card from when he was in college, but it's one of 49 that they printed. It's one of the serial.
Is it an autograph or is it just serial numbered?
It's just serial numbered.
And it's not 2016. It's not his rookie year.
No, it's a new one.
Okay, it's not gonna be too much, but if you want, hey man, you could DM me the pictures or whatever, and then I could look it up for you and tell you what it'd be worth.
Yeah, that would be great.
Because I don't use Beckett. I don't use Beckett. I go off of eBay price, because eBay's pretty much the king of selling cards, and it's all market pricing, whatever people ping for it.
Yeah. I've got some things that I can't find to save my life between football and baseball and hockey and stuff, so that would be great.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I'm not telling everybody to go call all your family members to check cards, because because Big wouldn't have a life. But I will say this. If you're sure, I'm gonna use that word, sure. If you are sure that you have a specific card, okay, let me just say this. Google it first. Type the information of the card. Like right now, I'm holding a, matter of fact, let me make it easy. Yeah, okay, I'll make it easy. I'll just grab the Mickey Mantle card. So this card, I would type in Mickey Mantle 1966. What
Topps.
brand was it? Topps. Okay, 1966.
I think those Topps.
So I'll type in 1966 Topps Ricky Mantle baseball card, and then put the number 50 beside it, and that's only because that's the number of the card. And then what's going to happen is, more than likely, Google is going to pop up a picture of the card, and all you got to do is look at it and say, yep, that's the card. And then you look at what it's going for, okay? And obviously it's going to be based on the condition of the card and whether or not it's rated. Rated means that it's been sent in to these people who are quote-unquote experts, and they're looking at the card to see the top condition that it's in, and they will rate it from a 1 to a 10. And obviously, the higher that it's rated is the more
value.
The more value of the card. And it's really not hard. I mean, most of us know when it comes to buying anything, if it's damaged, it loses value. It's no different. The only difference here is it's a card. So if you get on Google and you look up a card and it looks like it could be worth a lot of money, all you got to do is, I'm pretty sure if you DM Big, send them a photo of what you're talking about. But personally, if you have 50 cards, I think we're kind of getting outside the window there. Look, just
well, what I could, if you hey Trot, if you want to give me like 5, 6, 7 minutes, I can pull eBay up on my computer, and then if you want to put me on the big screen, I could walk people right through it. It would take me less than 5 minutes to do it. It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I think the point that I'm trying to make is there's probably maybe 5 people that might have a card. You know what I mean?
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah.
Just like, I mean, if we have to do it another day, we will. But just to make it simple, if Google it first, because to get a hold of someone, and last night I think I had 5 or 6 cards that I was asking Big to look at, and I was like, man, how is he getting this so fast? I just started Googling some of the stuff, and
that's because eBay.
What?
You just type it in like you would Google.
Oh, is it eBay? Okay,
up,
eBay.
And then you can just scroll right through and see what people are asking for. Yeah, eBay.
Okay. All right. Well, eBay. My bad. I was saying Google, but there's a lot of cars that I just hadn't looked up. And
yeah, eBay.
Yeah. So just use eBay, click it in there. And more than likely, what I've learned watching some of them videos, if you think you have a 10, it could be a 5. I just, the way they grade some of these things with your naked eye, you're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. But these guys are using they're using telescopes, that we look at the moon with, and they put that sucker on your card. And they're like,
100,
oh.
Yeah, they're using 100.
They're like,
using
wait a minute.
100X.
They're like, I see a scratch right there. And you're like, where, bro? And it's like, dude, I mean, it's like the wind blew on it too hard and made a scratch. You know what I mean? Like, some of the stuff they find. But anyway, I think we beat up half of y'all's ears enough about baseball memorabilia. I will say this, though. He's got a really cool, oh, man. Bro, this dude went to what was that thing you went to, the whole Joe Montana thing?
It was the National in Chicago.
Okay, so he went to this thing called the National where they have, like, Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders. Bro, they got, like, everybody there. I may be saying extra names, but the point is they had a bunch of people. They got Joe Montana there, bro. He takes a freaking San Francisco 49ers helmet and got it signed by Joe Montana, dude. And I mean, it's that thing is 100% authentic. Like, he's even got the picture. I mean, I'm like, bro, that is
so I was first in line, Trot, to talk, and I got to talk with Joe Montana for like 5-10 minutes before photo shoot and everything. So it was pretty cool. I actually literally got to talk to him, just nonchalant BS with him. It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, dude, with the legend. Anytime you're like getting to hang out with we're talking about people that's already done their whole career, and it's done, and you're talking to them. To me, that's way more cool than meeting them on the field. Me personally, because the whole aftermath is done, and you were there a lot of the years watching them play. It's just, to me, that's just way more cool. They're done, dude. Like, I mean, God, you're talking to them and their career is done. It's not like, hey, do you think you're going to break? No, more than likely they did break the record now at this point. You know, the one, and you're telling them. I just think is really neat. But I really am going to go to one of them. Do what, Dre?
I was walking through Vegas on vacation with my wife, and out the blue, bro, freaking Emmitt Smith was sitting there signing autographs, bro. And I was so salty that I did not have my card with me. I was like, man, if I would have had my card, bro. I'm hoping to see Deion, man, because I know he's coaching out here, and I know there's certain times where you can probably catch him. So I'm hoping and praying that before he leaves Colorado or I leave Colorado, I can catch him maybe with my card. And if he could sign it, bro, I'm taking my shoes and my card. I want him to sign my shoes and my card, bro. If I get both of them.
Watch out for Fan Day.
Yeah, I need to look out for something like that because I'm taking my shoes, bro, and I'm taking my card, bro.
Well, I'll tell you, you know who TD Jakes is?
Yep.
Well, TD Jakes' church not far from where I live, and Deion Sanders and Emmitt Smith used to go to church there. And my mom, at the time, was a pastor at that church. And, my mom don't know who Deion Sanders and Emmitt Smith is, bro. My mom don't know who those people are. No offense, you just don't.
You'll be surprised. A lot of people don't, bro. I don't think
because people don't watch sports, And so my mom's sitting there, and they're all having a meeting, and Deion Sanders and Emmitt Smith walk in the meeting, and to my mom, bro, my mom don't watch sports. They're just part of the church. That's all she knows. And they're like, okay, well, huh? Do what?
As it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, they're like, all right, well, Deion Sanders is going to say this. And my mom said, Deion Sanders? I'm telling you, you can, well, let me just put it this way. She was like, Deion Sanders? I've heard that name before. Yeah, she's heard that name before. She's heard me say it before. And they're like, yeah. And he's sitting there, he's talking about something. And, he brings up the Cowboys, the football team. She hears him saying something about the Cowboys. She still ain't putting two and two that he's on the team. And then and he's like, yeah, me and Emmitt, and she hears Emmitt Smith, and she's like, wait a minute, Emmitt Smith? I know I heard that name before. Anyway, so they're done talking. They sit down, and my mom still ain't put two and two together. So it wasn't TD Jakes that said it, but one of the other pastors had said, hey, we're just glad to have, some of the boys down here. And then finally it clicked in my mom's head that they're making it sound like these two guys play for the Dallas Cowboys. So my mom asked the person next to her, like, hey, do they play for the Dallas Cowboys? And that guy, I can't remember what his name is, but he was like, what? And she's like, do they play for the Dallas Cowboys? And she goes, that guy's like, hey, does anybody here not know who these two guys are? And my mom's the only one in the room, bro. By the way, she's the only white lady in there too, And so, of course, my mom's not going to raise her hand. But she's like, hey, Emmitt Smith, hey, this lady, she doesn't know who y'all are. My mom's like, I'm sorry, I don't watch sports. She goes, but I know who the Dallas Cowboys are, because people change. People change. The players change all the time. And so my mom was able to shake their hand and meet him. And she's like, hey, you never guess who I met at church? And I'm like, what? Like, well, who? Like, what? Why would that even be a topic? What do you mean, who'd you meet at church? She's like, Deion Sanders and Emmitt Smith. And I was like, what? I was like, how did you meet them? Well, they go to church there. And I'm like, oh my Lord. So
and your mom said to you, Trot, man, if you just stop playing pagan and go to church, you would have been able to meet them.
Well, yeah. She was like, they're there. She goes, I've seen them before. I didn't know who they were. And so I don't know, maybe a couple of months later, when I went with her, they were like not even but two booths or two, what do you call them? Not booths, but two, the long seats. What are those things called?
Yeah, benches, bro. Benches.
Benches. They were like 2 benches away. And
pews, benches.
Yeah, pews. That's what they were. So they're 2 pews away. And Emmitt Smith was walking around. And I was like, hey, Mom. I said, yep, you're right. That's Emmitt Smith right there. and she waved, and he came over, and I was able to shake him and Deion Sanders' hand, and I was like, Deion Sanders' hands are so big, dude. Like you wouldn't think they would. Then again, I'm not a very big person, but for me, they were big. They're pretty big. Plus, I was young. You know, obviously that was a long time ago, but
That's pretty cool, dude.
Hey, let me tell you this. Try.
It was way cool. It came out of nowhere. Yeah.
Have you ever seen this is the funniest thing you'll ever watch in your life. I swear to God, bro. Have you ever seen Deion Sanders on Bear Grylls?
Have I ever seen what?
Deion Sanders on the Bear Grylls show.
Uh-uh.
Oh my God, bro. Bear Grylls is like a survivalist, and he does like wild stuff, like what you would do like as a sniper out there eating, killing animals, doing wild stuff, rappelling and things of that nature. But
Okay.
he did a special series where he took like celebrities with him, and he took one of them was Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch had me crying laughing, but Deion, bro. When I tell you, me and my wife, when we want to laugh, we watch the Bear Grylls show with Deion. Deion was so scared to like jump off of something. The man started speaking in tongues, bro. It was so...
What? No, he didn't, bro.
I swear to God on everything I love, bro. The man, he had to like, he had to. I think it's been a while since I've seen it, but if I'm not mistaken, he had to inch across a mountain. But the mountain was like a very small ledge. And he was like, oh no. He's like, oh no, I'm not doing that. And then he was like, he prayed, bro. He was like, dear God. They recorded everything. He's like serious, bro. He was not playing, bro. And he started going through the thing, and he just started praying in tongues the whole time.
Oh, man. Dude. Okay, so the show is entertainment for like survivor. Or survival.
Yeah, so Bear Grylls does shows where he's surviving in different terrains, different places,
and
how
he's
to
just
survive.
filming it.
Yeah, and they film him.
Oh,
It's Bear Grylls. Like everybody's kind of heard.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this guy from like Austria or Australia?
Yeah,
guy?
Australia. Yeah, they are.
Oh, I never seen it, but I've seen the previews though of like him with people. Oh,
the only ones I've ever seen were like the celebrity ones, and Marshawn Lynch, oh my God. Marshawn Lynch wanted to fight that dude, bro. It was so funny. He's like, man, he's like, nah, I'm not doing that. It's funny because
bro, they know what the show's about, and and they got on there, and they're telling him they're not going to do something.
I mean, they usually end up doing it, but it's funny because you see like these big, massive men that are like, professional athletes, and some of the stuff that you have to do in survival training.
But that's the thing. They're good at a sport, and that's what people misunderstand.
But that's the whole point.
But
that's the whole point. It's like the sport does not make you tough. Like you're a football player, you're tough on the field, but the stuff that you have to do to survive.
Yeah.
Oh, Marshawn Lynch, bro. Marshawn Lynch.
It's totally different
because they're city boys. All these guys are city boys. Like Deion grew up in Fort Myers, but Fort Myers is still a city, bro. He's not a cowboy. He didn't grow up hunting and nothing like that.
Yeah.
Maybe fishing is the most he ever did. So you take this guy, and now you're like rappelling. You're fast roping off of a helicopter, a helo, into the water, and like he's scared to swim. Like.
That's why I always told. My joke when I was in the service, my joke that I would say all the time to, because and you know this, bro. Like it's just easier to be an infantryman if you got some background playing sports because you're used to utilizing your agility, right? You're so it just makes things more simple. And I always told the younger guys that would come up, I could tell who would play sport. You could just tell. And I was like, hey, what sport you play? Football or what? And, they'll tell you, oh, I played this or that. And then you get guys, they never played any sport. But they're thin, though, and that's all you need. And from there, you can get them to learn how to utilize their body. But the ones that did play sports, I would always tell them, hey, how do you think sports were made? And people lose focus on where this stuff came from. Sports were created because of war. That's where these sports came from. And it was all about whose side could move the pigskin or whose side could move an object from one side to another the best. And what they would do is they would take their soldiers against the other people's soldiers, and they would create games out of them. But back in the day, bro, it was soldiers playing these games to prove who had the best and strongest men. And what ended up happening is we would find someone who was not a soldier, but they can actually play that game pretty well. And so we would replace a real soldier with the person that had a talent to play in that game. And the sports kind of got watered down because none of those people are soldiers. So the soldiers that used to be honored, right, to win the game, they're no longer soldiers. You know, they're people who just have a talent of playing a game. It's a game. It's not real, you know, but that's where they came from. And then so now, you know, sports are, it's the, you know, it's funny. It's just so hilarious that, you know, our country is so big that, you know, it's when a soldier does pass, it doesn't affect the entire country like it once did. It just doesn't. You know, people would, you know, cry harder for a sports athlete that passed away than a soldier, you know, that passed away. And you just look at it, and the whole thing just got watered down, you know. And you know, Dre bringing up that some of these guys, they're athletes, you know, and they go out there in the wilderness. Well, I don't know how to do none of that stuff. So, you know, they're just used to playing the game, and you try to get them to do it for real, you're about to see a completely different character because that's not what they do. You know, they really don't survive in the wilderness like a soldier does. They don't really do that. And matter of fact, bro, that brings me. I don't know. Let's see. Well, I brought somebody up. I was just about to ask them what's going on, but they bounced out. But talking about wilderness and all that. It was brought to my attention. Somebody has sent me a video a few days ago about, I guess, a group of people walking around the area where Quote is and the Hebrews, you know, where they were walking around. And I was asked, hey, do you think, you know, that this is really where, you know, Moses was, you know, this area right here? And I said, well, and this is what I say to those kind of things, and we can have a discussion about it. I think it'd be kind of interesting, actually. Those areas where people are like, yeah, Moses walked here, you know, people will disagree and say, no, it actually wasn't here. It was over here, and this is how we know. And so, you know, there's always a discussion on where the real places were in the Old Testament. And there are a lot of Christians who will point at which they believe is the old Sodom and Gomorrah area. And, you know, they find sulfur balls there, and you'll see them light them balls, you know, with a lighter or something. And you know, and the majority of believers believe that is the location. They'll say, no, this is it right here. And again, they do the same thing with the mountain, Mount Sinai. You know, there's people that debate, no, it's over here. No, it's over there. And they both claim, well, the reason why this is because it's burnt. Other people say, so is this one. Look at the top of it. It's burnt, and it's burnt to this day. And there's all these discussions. I mean, there's people to this day that's still looking for Noah's Ark. You know, people from China or something claim that they found it and they've walked in it. And it's weird because it's like, you know, it's possible, right? Yes, of course. But it's like so funny, the angle and like the room or like the little area, you know, it's kind of like seeing the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot. It's just a blur, you know, even though the video's real clear that they're walking in this wooden thing, bro, like you're showing us 1/1,000,000th of a piece. And they're like, well, what else would this be? Well, who's to say that you're literally inside? I mean, you could be in a studio with fake ice in a fake little wooden box room. And, you know, I mean, you know, again, you know, but the point is everybody's looking for the physical areas of these locations. Even the Garden of Eden. Even though they're looking in the wrong area because Eden cannot be seen the way they're hoping that it can be. Eden can't be seen that way. This world has failed, and Eden is a spiritual place. It's not a physical place according to how this world is, and that's why everybody keeps looking for it. And they'll say, well, it's got to be right here because of these rivers, and it's like, well, you're looking in the wrong area, but you're looking. And there's many of them, right? So you got Sodom and Gomorrah, you got Noah's Ark, you got the Ark of the Covenant, you have where Moses walked, and there's a lot of those areas where most Christians will agree and say, yep, this is where they were here. This is when they were here. And I always say, well, me personally, I have not entered any of those geographical locations myself. So I can't say whether that is it or is not it. I don't, there's no way for me to personally know that. I live in Texas. Whatever these guys are out there in the sandy areas out there. When I was out there, I had a total different mission. So I wasn't able to take time and try to figure out who was where, but there are a lot of people who believe that these physical areas are the actual location, and they can all use, they all do use different reasonings behind their theory on why this is the actual location. And, I was going to ask some of y'all, what you thought about some of the areas where they're claiming that, these are the actual locations of these specific areas.
I don't even know what to say. To be honest with you, they aren't. I just think that some of this stuff, unfortunately, men are pagan, bro. People are pagan, bro. You show them a location on Earth where they believe something happened, and they get to worship in that spot, which is crazy.
Yeah. No, it is. It is true.
It's like, for example, like the Jordan River. People pay thousands of dollars to get baptized in the St. Jordan River. Well, that water that Jesus got baptized in, that thing done ran through a long time ago. It's gone. It ain't the same water.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me when Jesus was talking to the woman at the well, and he was telling her, "Hey, there'll be a day that people won't have to go to Jerusalem or go to this mountain to worship God, but people still look for those places."
Yeah, I don't know if y'all. There's this ridiculous cartoon, and I'm kind of thankful that I never cared for it when it came out. I thought it was really silly. But of course that ain't going to stop me from watching a few episodes of it. So, here I am. I don't know when the show came out, dude, but I know I was at least in high school the first time that I seen it or heard of it. And it's like this, it's a cartoon, but in my opinion, based on the few episodes that I saw, it's not made for kids, but it's a cartoon. It's called South Park. Okay. And, the very first time I saw a cartoon where it's like kids acting like adults, I was kind of weirded out, to be honest with you, because to me, cartoons are, I don't know, you can call it old school, but cartoons are for kids. I mean, even though I know adults make them, I'm not ignorant to that fact. But I think when they first came out, it was just kind of steered towards kids anyway. And so I'm watching this, just, again, this is in high school, and I'm like, what? My buddy's watching this. I'm like, what in the world are you watching? Like, it just didn't interest me at all. But in one of the episodes, which I didn't watch till later, I've always thought the series was just so dumb. But there was an episode that I watched, and I'm going to mess it up really bad. But the real chunky kid in the show, I remember his name is Cartman. Yeah, he's the only one off the top of my head that I'm going to throw out there because the way they create this character, he's just so. There's no way around it, dude. He's an imbecile, and he bought some kind of animal through the mail, okay, and it was a water creature of some sort, and he puts him in this tank in his room, and eventually, within I don't know, it seemed like a few days, they build a statue of him inside the water tank, and they're worshiping him. And in a very short period of time, there was a division between the people. Maybe it was water baptism or Trinity or oneness. Maybe because Cartman is so, where Cartman lives, and maybe they seen the mom and they go, see, there's two of them. There's two. And then they're like, yeah, but they're the same. That's just so who knows, man. Water baptism, Trinity, oneness, whatever. Like a bunch of fools, they argue. There's a division now. And they both recognize, Cartman as their god or something. And they get so mad at each other. They have a outright war, bro, in this water tank, and they start shooting nukes at each other, bro. It blows up the entire atmosphere they live in, like the whole tank of water. The glass shatters, and they just go everywhere, and they unalive themselves. And the creators of this show obviously are mocking how foolish people are, and who knows, they may be mocking the whole idea of God itself, because there are
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, so they are, because there are beliefs in this world that is like, no matter where you put people, they're gonna, again, pagans, right? Wherever you put people, they're gonna create a god, and then before you know it, they're gonna argue with each other and kill each other in the name of God. It is so hilarious because, this is how you know. I mean, and I hate to say it this way, but this is how you know that God is real, because there is something about us that is just so easily can become hateful. It's so easy. It's like we don't even have to try to be hateful. It's just natural, and we see the truth of that in the Bible. But you take something and you say, all right, this is God, and I'm telling you, if people are not tuned in, quote unquote, with God, they just start hating each other and arguing about the most ridiculous things, and causing division between one another. Causing division with one another becomes just so natural, and we know the reason for that, and that's because of the first Adam. Because of what happened with the first Adam, we were born into this world that way. And, that becomes an argument. No, we were not. Like, yes, we were, and it's just, and I'm saying that really based on what Dre said when he was like that people just naturally have this paganistic viewpoint that no matter where they go, they have to worship the ground where something took place. And this is how you know that the person is worshiping the carnality part of God, not his spirituality part, his card. They think they're worshiping the spirit, right? Because things that these people went through, a lot of them were miracles and a spiritual truth behind them. But the point is, at the time that the things were happening, it was in the Old Testament, and the Bible makes it clear that these were shadows of of things to come. So to worship the physical grounds of these quote unquote locations, and a lot of them, they're not 100% entirely sure if this is the actual location or not. We're doing the best we can. Now, some of them, a majority of Christians will agree and say, yeah, this is it right here. And then there's just so much evidence that points to the fact. But there's other ones where there's not enough evidence for obviously other people, because other people don't believe it. And then we start getting into pride, where one person is believing that, okay, this is where this location is. And then here comes another group and goes, no, that's not it. It's this over here. Well, bro, as soon as somebody puts like their foot down and says, this is the location, it's hard to admit, okay, I was wrong. This is not the location. It's actually the one that guy found. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know if y'all know who Billy the Kid is, but there's a character in the Wild Wild West. Well, not really, but kind of in the cowboy days. There was a guy named Billy the Kid. He had a kid face. And he went around pretty much just robbing and looting trains and all these things. Well, by Stephenville, Texas, there is a museum there that called the Billy Kid Museum, and these will claim that Billy the Kid died there. And don't quote me on the year, but I'm going to say, 80s or 90s, maybe the 70s. Well, if you know the story of Billy the Kid, he died way before then, okay? And I want to say maybe in Arizona, there's people that have a museum. So there's two main places. There's two areas that claim that Billy the Kid lie in a grave. Well, he can't be in both. He only can be in one. And so, again, I don't know if it's Arizona or not, but if the first one is Arizona, obviously, years down the road, these people in Stephenville are saying, they're saying, no, he's here, and we got proof because he had the same scars and he had all this stuff, and they're like, oh no, we can prove that was him. Just didn't want to tell anybody where he was, because obviously he had a bounty on his head. But he started telling people when he was older, I'm Billy the Kid. He started telling people that when he got older, and people believed it. So now, to this day, that area in Texas, they claim to have the body of Billy the Kid buried. And what's funny is they have, whoever these corporations are, said, hey, I tell you what, let us dig up both the bones, and we'll let you know which one's Billy the Kid. Do you know both of them say no? They don't want. They want to be wrong.
Hey, try. It would be some Texans saying they got something.
Huh?
I said it would be some Texas. It would be some Texas talking about something they got Billy the Kid.
Well, it is. It is.
No,
I'm sure.
That's like my dad's favorite character, bro. My dad has made me watch, and I have watched with him almost every Billy the Kid movie there is out there, bro. He loves Billy the Kid.
The dude was a trip, man. If you look at his story, now I will say he is 25 to 30% nut job, 100%.
No doubt.
Yeah. Now the point is, he was
a short dude, right? He was like 5'3", bro.
No, he was that. Are you sure?
Oh yeah, man. He was 5'3". He was a short. He was a 5'3", 125 pounds, bro, soaking wet. He was a little dude, bro. He died in the 1800s. I'm telling you, I've watched every Billy the Kid movie there is. My dad loves. Okay. He died in New Mexico, bro. At least that's what the consensus is. I don't know where the Texas.
Okay, there you go. Okay, you're right. You're right. It's not Arizona. It's New Mexico. But whatever. So there's two. But either way, there's two places that claim to have his grave. So let's say New Mexico's one. Okay. Well, around Stephenville, Texas, is where this museum is, the Billy Kid Museum or whatnot, and they claim that his grave is in that area somewhere. Okay. But the funny part is they have both places that are claiming they have his body. They have both been presented with a company or whatnot that will say, hey, we will test the remains. And, in order to do this, I don't know who these people are, but they're claiming that they have, I guess DNA, something of his that would be able to prove whose remains are in those graves, and both decline it. Neither one, because what's going to end up happening is they both could be wrong. They both could be wrong. They could say neither one of them. And let me tell you something. If you have built a museum that says, Billy the Kid Museum, bro, what do you think's going to happen to your museum when it comes out that that's not Billy the Kid?
Right.
Yeah, because
you
they're
lose
claiming
your money.
Yeah, because they're claiming that his last and if you look this up, you'll see all the details. But obviously, he wasn't there for 1 year. I mean, that would be hard for me to believe that all these people got fooled, and it's possible people get fooled a lot of things. But I'm gonna say, maybe his last 5 years at least, maybe I don't know, maybe more. Where he was like, hey, you know what? I'm old. I'm just gonna tell people I'm Billy the Kid. So whatever his height is, his stature, whatever it is, this guy had to have been of equal stature. Like, why would anybody believe, who he is, but that they're claiming that. And so these people done said, hey, check it out, man. Why the arguing? Hey, why the arguing? We'll dig up the remains. We'll test it. And they're like, oh, no, we're good. I was like, okay. So either both of y'all are wrong.
Bro. You didn't know that?
Yeah.
He's a little guy.
No, I don't remember.
Some people say he's like 5'3", some people say 5'6", but still he's a little dude, bro.
Yeah, well, even if he was my height, he's not a big guy, 5'8". I'm not a big dude.
You would have towered over him, bro. You would have towered over him. Like, you would have felt like Shaq over him, bro.
Shaq's a big old dude, man. But yeah, so I'm only bringing that up to say that it's just so human nature for us to so quickly claim and build a monument over an area, and that's the reason that Bin Laden's body was dumped in the ocean, is because that they would have made a monument of this guy based on how some of these people think religiously in that area. They would have, that's exactly what it would have been. And so because that's, like I said, like Dre said a while ago, it's just natural. And so because it is natural for a human to do that, that's why a lot of people make fun of the whole idea of God in its entirety, because then if the case, then that's what we're doing with this God, father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is the same thing, and that, it's not always easy for people to believe that there is a God. But in that cartoon that I didn't watch the entire thing. I didn't sit down and see the whole thing, but I remember specifically this dumb kid buying some kind of animal. There was a statue of him in there eventually, and then eventually it looked like, and I could be wrong, but to me it just looked like nukes flying all over the place from one side to the other, and they all became unalive. It's just kind of weird. I'm sure there was more to the cartoon than that, but but yeah. So the whole idea though about where did Moses walk, where did Abraham walk, where did all these people walk around? There's just too many things that we just cannot 100% confirm. There's so many, and I mean, golly, think about it. Bro, how long has the Earth been here? Some say 50 billion million years, and then you have the 6,000 to 10,000 years. New Earth, old Earth. But the funny thing about it is, truly, there's so much we already don't agree on. I mean, there's just so much, dude, that we to this day we still can't agree as a collective group whether or not the world is flat, sphere, round, triangle. We still can't come into agreement with that. That's questioned, right? Did we really fly to the moon?
We can't even get into agreement on as Christians. Well, like in Christianese, I was having this conversation yesterday. People, there's 1 point something billion, I think, Catholics in the world. It's like 1 billion Catholics plus, and all these 1 billion people believe that you're going to hell if you're outside of the Catholic Church, if you don't confess to be a Catholic. Like, think about that alone. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, bro, they do.
Yeah,
There's people that believe
that's
that.
true. That's true. they do.
Yeah, and let me say this, man. Big was well, he was a Catholic. I know that. I'll let him speak for himself. But he was a Catholic, so there are some things that he does know about, like the Catholic Church, that me personally that I wouldn't know, because I never, I was never a Catholic. You know, I went to service with some friends of mine, and I remember the first time I ever went. I'll never forget it. I walk in there, and I'm like, "What in the world is this? Like, what is this? What am I walking into here?" And you know, I walk in there, and you know, the guy is, and I'm just giving you my experience. So I'm not mocking at all, but I am going to tell you what I heard. And so when the guy was up there, all I heard is it looked like he was looking at a book. I don't know if he was looking at a book. I'm like 15 pews away from him. But all I hear is, no. That's all I hear. And it's him. He's doing it. I'm looking at his lips. And I'm like, what are we doing? And I didn't know when or how. I didn't know why. I didn't know nothing. But all I knew is my buddy's mom, every time she tapped me on my shoulder, I was supposed to kneel. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I'm like, why are we kneeling? I tell my friend, why are we, you know, of course, my questions are right then and there. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm like, all right. So I stand up, kneel down, stand up. I'm like, what are we doing? I had no idea. So I came home and I told, you know, old mom and pops, hey, we went to this place, and, you know, they were like, well, what were you doing over there? I was like, I don't know. I was invited to go over there. I was young, man. I was probably 12 years old or younger. But that was the first time that I ever heard that it was different. Like the Catholic Church was different than what I was used to. And, you know, it's just, and I'll also say this, that Big's mother. All right, matter of fact, Big, I'll let you talk for yourself. So why don't you just for a little bit talk about like how you were raised, or you were a Catholic, and then maybe you can just talk about your mom for 30 seconds. Matter of fact, we'll probably have your mom on one day.
Yeah, no, I can try to do that sometime. I grew up Catholic. My mom, right out of high school, became a Carmelite nun, and she was a nun from when she was 18 years old till she was like 33 or so. And you know, she left the convent when my dad actually my dad was in the Navy. He got out of the Navy, started his own tile business, and then he did tile work, and he was doing tile work for the monastery, and that's how he met my mom. And, you know, long story short, she left, got married to him, and here I am, a miracle today. But hey, but anyways, yeah, no, we got all of us were brought up in the Catholic Church. You know, went through the whole, you know, catechism thing. The indoctrination is, I guess, what I would call it. You know, and, you know, I was an altar boy. I mean, you know, all that stuff, got confirmed. You know, the thing is like, I guess what question would you have, Trot, that I'm not sure where to go with this.
Yeah, I'm pretty, actually, to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure the question would be a very universal, because you got to think, right? Let's just say this real quick before I ask the question. If we were talking about sports, you know, there are parents, let's say someone is born and raised in Texas, right? And they're like playing football, hardcore football from Texas. Where do you think that their parents want them to go to college to play football? In Texas. Mm-hmm. So whenever they go to Oklahoma or they go somewhere else, some of the parents, bro, they get offended by this. And so they ask a question, why? Right? Okay, so it's the same question for people who are Catholics and then what they're calling this Protestant, right? You know, Catholics love to use the word, they love it. You know why? Because when they say Protestant, it separates the person from the church, because they call the church the Catholic Church. That's what the church is. It's not about who's saved. No, no, no. If you're saved, you're not part of the church unless you're
Right.
in the church. This is the attitude I get from them. So I don't have to go read a book. I can tell by their demeanor when they're speaking to you, when they say, well, the church, they're talking about them, regardless if you're saved or not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah. It's
and
definitely.
and they can miss me, with it when they go, well, no, I'm not saying if you're saved or not, bro. I hear clearly what you're saying. You keep saying the church, and you're referring to yourselves, and we're excluded, right? The attitude is still we're Jews and you're Gentiles.
Yeah. No.
the
That's
attitude.
that's exactly what it is. And I mean, it's
So the question,
it's all about
the question. Well, let me say this. So the question is, what would you say? And I'll tell you what I think, and then you can tell me what you think because you are actually a Catholic. But I'll tell you what I think. What I've noticed is a lot of people that become Catholic are adults. Just hear me out. Hear me out on this one.
Yep.
And if you pay real close attention, all you got to do is pay attention. And you look at why is this grown man becoming a Catholic? It's so simple. I mean, golly, it's so easy for me to see because people who were raised a Catholic, when they get out of it, you cannot tell them they don't have any reason why they left, right? So it goes both ways. So a person, quote unquote, that was not a Catholic, and they join this group that calls themselves Catholics. How funny that people that don't have all the knowledge about it become Catholic, and the people that have all the knowledge about it, a majority of them, stop being Catholic. A lot of them do. And so the question is, right? And then the Catholic will say, well, it's the same with the Protestants. This guy was a Protestant, and he left that and went to the Catholic, right? And so it goes both ways. And I'm like, yeah, but the problem with that is this. Were either one of them truly a Christian at all? That's the question. And so they're hopping from one sect to another sect. And it's so easy for me, which there's a part that I'm just not going to say because it doesn't matter. But it's so evidently clear to me on why Protestants become a Catholic when they're an adult. So easy for me to see. But it's hard for me to understand why someone who was raised a Catholic would go be a Protestant. So what would you say a reason that a person that was raised in the Catholic Church, what is the reason that they would leave?
Well, I could tell you the reason why I left. I can't really speak for anybody else, but I can say for what I did. Because in the years that I went to the Catholic Church, not one time did they ever really tell you to read your Bible. It was always read the Catechism. So literally it was almost like they didn't want you to learn the truth for yourself, in my opinion, because a friend of mine introduced me to the Bible and questioned me on, my knowledge, and it was the same thing that a lot of Catholics do. They just turn and say, well, the Catholic Church is started by Jesus Christ, and they just defend it, and they don't even know why they're defending it. They're just saying it because they were told that's what it was, not because they read it, and not because it's in the Word, but it's because that's what they're told, and it's so indoctrinated in them that they believe that, and they go to their death fighting for that truth. When it's again, like my friend was going through it and saying, hey, show me in the Bible where all this is that you're talking about. And she even asked me, have you even read the Bible? And I'm like, no, I honestly I haven't read the Bible. So she's like, how can you tell me then? So first thing she was like, do you believe the Bible is true? I said, oh, absolutely. She's so right there is actually where it started clicking for me, because when I was, indoctrinated into that whole belief, of just, only the the catechism is what matters. Because I'll tell you this right now, like I've tried to talk to my dad. Okay, I've tried to talk to my dad about, about
Hey,
the
Hey, Big. Let me ask you something real quick, and
Yeah.
trying to stop the flow here, but just in case someone doesn't like understand what the catechism is, can you go over what that is real quick?
It's been such a long time, dude. But it talks about the sacraments. It talks about like
Well, no, I
basic.
don't mean for you to like. No, I don't mean for you to break it down. But can you explain in a nutshell what it is? What is it exactly? Like, what's the
It's the
purpose of it? What is
legislation
it?
to being a Catholic, bro. It's the rules
Yeah,
and
yeah,
regulations
yeah.
of how to be a Catholic is what it
Yep.
is.
Thank you, Dre.
So
That's
for-
exactly
for-
that's
so
exactly
for
what it is.
instance, give one thing about this rule or regulation. Like, what's one thing
Okay, so
that for
you'll
sure
see
is in there?
in the catechism, you'll see the stance of Mother Mary being a perpetual virgin and the mother of God. You'll see that
Yep.
she was holy and that she was basically sinless. That's in the catechism. You're not going to find it in the Bible, but the catechism will explain how full of grace means that she was actually saved by God to be the Ark of the Covenant to hold Jesus Christ. You'll see that in the
Yep.
catechism. You won't see that in the Bible. So that's where they
Correct.
get this from.
Okay,
Correct.
so the catechism is they're claiming revelation of the Bible.
Interpretation, yes. It's the interpretation of the Bible from the Catholic view, yes.
Ah, okay. So it's not about them getting interpretation or themselves. It's about believing the people before them that
Right,
received the revelation or
And
whatnot.
so
okay.
allegedly, the apostles taught this through apostolic succession. So when the catechism was written, which was thousands of years later, literally thousands of years later, they say that it is true because it came through apostolic succession, because Paul laid hands on such and such laid hands on St. Jerome, St. Jerome laid hands on whatever.
Right. Yeah. And it's the same way that the Islamic believers believe, right?
Well, and
because if you pay real close attention to, let me just say this real quick. Let me say this real quick. If you pay attention to Islamic believers, they'll say, no, this book was signed off by this person, and this book was signed off by this person. It's the same attitude. It's the same attitude of man trying to prove that they are going to keep something content in a physical way. The church is not going to be built in a physical way. It's not going to happen that way. But men are trying to make it that way. And that's why you'll see Islamic believers and Catholics come into agreement because they think the same way. All you got to do is pay attention. They both think the same way. They think that you should be able to prove what you're saying based on the last person and the last person and the last person. And nothing could be further from the truth. The Church of God is built on a spiritual rock. And upon that spiritual rock, each person is built upon thereof based on spiritual revelation. And we're all the church based on that. Not because I can prove to another man that look at all these people that have memorized. I mean, think about it. Memorizing the Bible, that is spiritual. I can find an atheist and tell him, as soon as you can prove you memorize that, I'll give you $1 million. What's the point of it being memorized? It's not about that. It's about whether or not it's written on your heart, not written on a piece of paper.
It's all dogma, Todd. It's all dogma.
Yeah,
That's all it is. It's all dogma. They have something called the Didache. The Didache tells you what temperature the water should be for you to get baptized in order for it to be a baptism. Like, I'm not even making that up.
It's all based on carnality. But anyway, just to get back to what Big was saying, obviously, Big, you know how we are, man. We're gonna digress, kind of.
No, you're good.
We're gonna tree limb this bad boy. But just to get back to the branch, real quick on what you were saying, but basically the what you're referring to right now is. Again, like the ideas or the revelation of the Bible, and then that's what you're supposed to read. Let me ask you this. What is the purpose? Why do they tell you that you need to read that rather than the Bible?
Why did they tell you what?
To read it
To read the catechism?
rather than the Bible. Yeah, the catechism. Why are you told to read that over the Bible?
Well, again, I think I can't see they never tell you why. It's man, it's hard to
I'm gonna help you out.
I
I'm
think
gonna help you out,
yeah,
man.
Dre.
I'm gonna help you out, man, because the whole purpose of reading the catechism is to. That's the only way you become a Catholic is to become truly catechized. That's why they talk about being a
Yeah,
catechized Catholic. So if you want to
yeah.
be a true Catholic, you got to really understand the catechism so that you can understand the doctrine of the Catholic Church. That's why you're told to
So
read that.
so when I was growing up, okay, when I was younger and growing up, they would have you go through like Sunday school and catechism classes, and then you would get to like, the age of 16, and then they would confirm you in the Catholic Church. Confirm meaning that you were basically, you knew your catechism, you knew
It's
it.
it's basically like a doctrine for discipleship, wouldn't you say that?
Successfully
Yeah, I
indoctrinated.
would. Yeah, that would be pretty
Well,
accurate.
here's a fun fact. My grandmother was a devout Catholic, and my mom was. She was obviously um, did her first communion and all that stuff, and she was like in the Catholic Church. She became a born again Christian at 13, but in Venezuela, in order for you to get married, you got to kind of go through the Catholic Church. So my dad like conceded just to marry to my mom at that time. So they got married through the Catholic Church, which made it quote unquote official according to my grandmother. So they were trying to please her. And at the same time, I was baptized in the Catholic Church as a baby, which is ridiculous because I don't remember none of it. So I don't. I was baptized like you're supposed to be baptized later
Yeah,
on, I
same
guess,
here.
as an
Same
adult.
here.
But yeah, no, like my mom, my grandmother was a devout Catholic. She used to always try to stick the catechism up my nose, and I was like, nah, that's crazy. What you believe is nuts.
But I mean, long story short, though, Trot, as far as with, why would anybody leave the Catholic Church is what you were asking.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know why, anybody would leave, because I'll tell you what, man, when a lot of people get in the grips of that church, dude, and they don't read the Bible, man, there's really not a whole lot of, um, there's really nothing that can help them unless somebody tried to help, show, tell them the truth about it, and if you're willing to listen. And here's what I'll say. When I was 18, I left Minnesota, where I'm originally from, and I left to move down to South Dakota. I stopped going to church. Okay. And like I said, when I wasn't in, when I stopped going to the Catholic Church, I stopped going to church altogether. Boy, when you take a lot of time away from that, you're not set in stone with it. You know what I mean? Like you kind of like, you almost lose interest in the, just whatever it is, the doctrine or whatever it is. And I can tell you right now, it was almost a blessing that happened, because when my friend started talking to me about it, and then I started trying to defend it when I didn't even go to church for like 10 years anyways, my defense crumbled, because I wasn't like concreted in that church belief. And when I was presented the Bible, and I listened, and I listened to the word and what it actually was, man, I was set free, and it was that would be the only reason, or the only way that, in my opinion, anybody, that's, in the Catholic Church, to be set free would be to honestly read the Bible, man.
But you know what, big
Yeah,
man, you
so
had a heart. You had a heart for it though, bro. Because
Yeah.
the reality is, when you are raised in that your whole life, and you've been catechized, quote unquote, because that's all you read is the catechism. You really don't read the Bible. Your Sunday school is consistent of the catechism and the
Hmm.
dogma of the Catholic Church. Even when you read the Bible later on, it's not a coincidence that as you read the Bible as an adult, you still can only see the Bible through the lens of the catechism. So it doesn't matter
Right.
what anybody tells you. You're so brainwashed to believe what the catechism says that you can't even see the word of God for yourself and say, hey, wait a second, this is kind of fishy. Unless you have a contrite heart to want to really get to know God and say, you know what, I want to know this for myself. I'm not going
Right.
to just take somebody's word for it, because Galatians chapter 1 verses I believe it's chapter Galatians 1, I want to say 10 and 11, Paul talks about how the gospel that was preached to him was not of man but of Christ. And it
Yep.
was revealed to him not of man and traditions of men but of Christ, because
And
he had to
how
be
some have perverted
descaled.
that.
Yes, and he had to be
Yeah.
descaled. He had to be descaled by God himself so that he
Yep.
could see it. It took a contrite heart. Well, for him, he had to get blinded, and then it took a contrite heart. But that's the level that it took for him to get out of his tradition, which was Judaism, right? He was a Jew of Jews, a Pharisee of Pharisees. And a lot of times in the Catholic Church is the same way. And I can point out things, and I'm like, bro, look at what John 3:16 says. The only way to heaven is through Christ. There is nothing else, man. He is it. He is the centerpiece. He is the centerpiece of the everything, the cornerstone. There is no
Yep.
other stone. There is no other cornerstone. It is Jesus Christ. He is the cornerstone, and the spirit that he sent guides you through to Eden. He is the guide to Eden. He is the one that's going to guide you. It's going to be through the sword, which is the word of God, bro. It ain't nothing else. Period.
Yeah, let me hey Go To, I brought you up. What's going on, Go To? What you got, man?
Oh, nothing. Well, I was just gonna add that Mormonism is the same way. You read the Bible through the lens of Mormonism, and there's clear things in there that go against the Mormon doctrine, but you're taught not to trust the Bible because of its translations, and so you just kind of skim over things and you read things through the lens.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if,
and you know, and the Islamic believers are notorious for like trying to press the idea that the Bible itself has been corrupted and it can't be trusted, and they all feed off each other. How funny, they all pretty much feed off each other, and they're like, well, let's just read our revelation of the Bible, and our revelation has never been corrupted, but the Bible could have been. And it's funny that they all agree. They all, and to some degree, believe that they have to trust what's been passed down from their quote-unquote forefathers, that they would rather trust that than the Bible itself. And then if you basically can see that truly deep down, they don't believe the Bible has power at all. Because if they did, they would focus more on it, but they don't. They focus more on what's been passed down from them. And it's just not a coincidence that all of them agree in that manner, but yet they all have different interpretations of the Bible, but yet they all agree that in some way you're supposed to go off of what's been passed down to you rather than read the Bible itself. That's not a coincidence.
That's where Islam and Mormonism, they both claim, just like that verse in Galatians, if we or another man or even an angel, preaching to you another gospel, let him be accursed. And two of those three religions just mentioned claim that an angel has come to them and told them that, that they had corrupted the Bible. This is how you're really supposed to live it out.
Yeah.
Worse than that, Muslims have over 10 different versions of their own Quran. So there's not even like they proclaim like a single unadulterated book. There's over 10. I don't want to be presumptuous and overstate because I need to be truthful.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Last thought. And you can look it up, but it looks pretty solid that the Catholic Church created the Islam religion. If you think about it, the Catholic Church is Satan's head church. So Satan would have no problem with another religion being created because all religions are ran by him. So, but there's some documentation that the Catholic Church created the Muslim faith. Well, so,
yeah, and I'll say this. Yeah, I'll say this based on that. Like, so Islam proclaims that they have this one like infallible book, and then it comes out that there's actually more than one. But here's the whole point with that. Using their argument is trying to use man's logic, and that's not what we use to prove something is right or not right. And so Islam tries to use, again, man's wisdom, proclaim that they are true. When the truth is, people that follow Christ, we don't use man's wisdom. We use the wisdom of God, which is in the Bible. And so to bring up, and I'm saying this based on what GoTo said, where they have other Bibles, that doesn't even, the truth is that doesn't even matter. Let me tell you what does matter. The one thing that will stick out in it, and the whole Quran does this. But whenever the Bible was being plagiarized, right, they made a mistake and minimize it. From the very beginning, when they started talking about Moses, they put God in Moses' hand, and Jesus is the rod. And so the thing that they were trying to change, they were using their carnal eyes to try to change something that was already given by God. And to them, they just thought it was a stick. So they left it in there, and they don't understand that proves that it was plagiarized. They just took stories that was in the Bible, and they wrote it to fit whatever narrative they wanted to how they wanted to discuss it, because they don't understand who Jesus is. And that right there alone proves. So the fact that they don't know who Jesus is, they're trying to figure it out, but they don't understand that Moses was carrying Christ. The rod of Moses is the rod of God, which is a shadow of Jesus, and they don't proclaim that. That alone proves to me 100% that they can have 10 Qurans. None of them are going to proclaim Christ to be who he is. So, I mean, you know, I'm sure they did a good job putting fear into people and forcing them to believe something. Just like back in the day, Christians tried to use fear. But that, again, that doesn't come from Christ. All that comes from men. So the men that were trying to force people to become a Christian, they're not Christians. And Islam in its entirety, that's what they did to have so many people to believe in it. But it wasn't like that in the beginning. In the beginning, Peter tried to use the sword to save Jesus. And guess what? Jesus didn't allow it. Well, from the beginning, Jesus shows that sword, that kind of sword is not what he came to bring. But yet in Islam, Muhammad proves that is the sword that he came to bring, because he used that sword a lot. It's two completely different stories, 100%. And from the beginning, when Jesus came, he did not come to bring that sword. The sword that he brought was a spirit. And so completely two different gods, completely two different beliefs. And I don't care how many Bibles or books that they have that they messed up. It was messed up when it started. So I don't need to go over how many books they have. It was wrong from the beginning because it wasn't done the way that Jesus did it, period. And so for them to say, oh, well, it's because it was a different prophet. All right, well, then I'm sure there's enough fools out there to believe it, but I'm not going to be one of them.
All right. And Christians who let Muslims come into their chat to defend Muslim, like, you're either, if you're interested in learning about Jesus, you can stay. But I mean, yeah, to give breath to someone trying to promote another faith, even Mormonism, right? Just like, look, if you want to learn about Jesus, we can talk and learn about the real Jesus outside of religion. But if you're not interested in that, then you're just not ready. So go pray on it, read the Bible, and come back. But
yeah, and you know, apologetics has its time and in its place, and here on Descaled, our focus is not it's not anything other than Christ. So, like I always say, we may digress off of that to discuss any discussion, actually, you know, but at a small percentage of the time. And so, but Let's see. Misunderstood. What's up? Been being quiet down there.
I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you wanted to say something.
Oh, no.
Let's see.
I've been in a lot of different his different lives this weekend for Bible study, and it's been very interesting.
Yeah.
I'll throw out my last 2 cents because I like to listen. The Bible is 100% true. It's perfect. It's amazing. And when you trust the Bible 100%, trust God 100% with your whole heart, treasures come out of the Bible through the Holy Spirit. So,
Somebody wrote, let me see. You guys don't know the difference between apologetics and polemics. Oh, my Lord. Yes, I most certainly do. 100%. There's nothing wrong to have a controversial opinion, okay? I get it. But I'm telling you right now, if you concentrate on the controversial opinions, you become a fool. That is not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to make disciples, okay? So, saying that alone is pretty much giving your opinion that one is more important than the other, and both are okay at different times. I understand the argument. Trust me. I 100% know the difference, and that's why the live is ran the way it's ran, because we just try to stay on topic. And I don't have any problem with apologetics, and I understand what the difference of the two, what they are. But yeah, there's people that like to do that, and then there's people who are led to do that for whatever the reason is. But having a difference of an opinion when it comes to the Spirit is nothing but that, an opinion. And so if you catch yourself constantly arguing about your views and your opinions, then something's wrong with your spirit meter. You're obviously not retaining a truth somewhere because you're too opinionated. Everything's not based on opinions. God is true. There is a truth, and Christ is it. And that fact, I understand the differences of opinions that people are going to have. But the reason why people go around in circles for like 2 weeks on a topic is because they're full of pride. That's the reason. So, you can't bring up either one of these words to me when pride from the get-go was the issue. It's no longer based on what I think. It's more based on I have a point to prove and you're going to listen. That's all that's really happening there.
And their glass is full.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not teachable. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Big, I was going to tell you, one day you ought to tell your mom to come up so we can talk about her journey from going through what did you call it that she did?
She was a Carmelite nun.
A Carmelite nun. Well, how many type of nuns are there?
More than I could probably know. But no, she was like, there's some like types of nuns that are more strict than others, and I don't know. I'm not really. I'll let her speak for herself, because I'm not really. I mean, I don't know the full deep story of everything. I mean, she's just told me some stuff, but yeah, as far as with her coming on here, it's just tough just because I work, and she, my mom's like 76 years old, so she don't have TikTok, or she doesn't. She's not kind of up with the whole TikTok thing. But
you're good.
If there's a day, I'll tell you what ahead of time, man. If there's a day where I have a day off and I can completely be zoned in, because I'm at work right now. But if I'm zoned in, I'll go over to my mom's and I'll have her talk live with you guys.
Yeah, no, just let me know. Just let me know. What day that is, and then we'll just do it that day. Let's see. Andrew said, apologetics is in defense, yet again, you don't know the difference. Yeah, apologetics is in defense. I wasn't talking about apologetics, sir or ma'am. I was talking about polemic. That's the one that I was referring to. Controversial opinion. I trust me, I know. And apologetics is so, bro, that's fifth grade level. Everybody that's been in fifth grade, if you're a Christian, you should know what apologetics is. So I don't know why you're coming to this live like you're gonna teach somebody what apologetics is, bro. Like everybody here knows what 1 + 1 is. I don't get the point that you're making with that. Maybe you're used to talking to people that have not cared enough to educate themselves in the Bible. You came to the wrong live. So
Hey
Jess,
Trot,
what's
I'm
going
gonna
on?
I'm gonna
Hey,
I'm gonna
what's
drop
up?
down in the comments though.
Okay.
So because I gotta I gotta do some stuff here that I'm not gonna be able to even get on here. So
Yeah, absolutely. Right there. And look, I'm so glad you put that. Andrew, the product. Listen to this. Cute soldier. So here we go. You come in here to mock, to point the finger, because for some reason you're angry. You're an angry man. Listen, you don't have to bring your angry personality in here. Nobody in here is angry with you. Obviously, you're angry because you're calling people cute, and so you're hoping that everybody is ignorant in the world, and you just happen to be the only person that knows what apologetics is. So I don't know where all the anger's coming from, but calm down, take a breath. Matter of fact, get off of TikTok for a little bit, bro. Like just go do some push-ups or something, because I'm not going to call somebody cute and trying to poke fun, and I'm not. There's no point of doing any of that. So obviously, you're very familiar with polemics. Obviously, because you want to share your opinion so bad, and when someone doesn't give you the time of day, you're going to attack the person. You don't have to attack anybody here. You can go to a live where they do that, bro. There's Jerry Springer TikToks all over, and I guarantee you're probably part of about 20 of them. So why don't you go join one of them, and you can take your negativity somewhere else, because I thought you came up here because we're on the same accord about God, but obviously not. So make sure you take about 2 pacifiers with you and suck on them whenever you're getting your feelings. It's not that serious. It's not that serious, my guy.
Bruh.
Bruh, what is going on?
What's up, man? Hey,
What did I just
hey.
walk into?
Oh, you just walked into someone being rude, and you just happened to hear the aftermath of that. That's about it. So it probably lasted about 10 seconds, but we're moving on.
Hey, bro, Jesus is the law of
What's up?
Moses. Picture that, man. That was amazing.
Yeah, he is.
I
He
say
is.
amen to that.
Like I always say, the law. When people want to talk about being under the law, oh yeah, we're under the law, right? The spiritual law, right? Because Jesus is the law. I say it like once a week. He's the law, man. 100%. He came to fulfill it. He's the completion of it. He's the part of the law that makes it even harder to do, and he's part of the law of love that makes that harder to love people, because they can be even more cruel. That's why he's talking about turn your cheek. It's like man, we're not going to stone them. Turn your cheek. And it's like, man, like it's just so hard. The standard that he brought to the table, it's so hard.
But that's the thing, a lot of people didn't understand that.
Well,
Pharisees were so focused on Moses. Who's the one that gave the commandments to Moses? This is God himself, man. It's crazy that, the Sadducees and Pharisees just kept their own traditions and all that. That's why they crucified Jesus in the first place, man, because Jesus was like, no, I ain't down with your religious spirits and all that, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Did Dre hop out? Dre, you here? Or you not here?
You got a phone call.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm here,
okay. No, I didn't know if you were still here or what.
Hey, question though.
Let me
What do you think
yeah.
about the Apocrypha? Like the Apocrypha, like I'm thinking about getting another Bible with the Apocrypha in it. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, I'll say this about it. What's in there to learn? How about that? I'll just ask that.
More historical context, I guess.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I don't have any. There's nothing wrong with history. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You know. What are you liking about? Have you started playing around with it yet?
I've read a few books, and I mean, you know, some of it makes sense. You know, I'm not disagreeing with anything. It's just for like study and clarity. You know, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Whenever you start playing around with it, you can bring up a piece of it here and there, and we'll use it for like a small digression. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah. Dre, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
Not much. I'm just catching flack from all the a Catholic buddy of mine. He's upset right now, Andrew. So he's
Oh,
texting me. He's just really upset, about the whole thing. And I'm like, bro, nobody's disrespecting your church, bro. Just because we don't agree with the same doctrine, nobody's disrespecting you. Nobody has put pictures up of the Pope kissing Kaaba like some of the Coptics did, like the Coptic Prince guy did, So he's upset, and I'm like, bro, we're not doing anything wrong. We just don't agree with your doctrine. Like you don't agree with our doctrine. You go on Catholic Lives, you talk about Protestant sola scriptura. What's the problem? I don't get in my feelings, bro. I'm not gonna get in my belly about that stuff, bro. It's
yeah,
not
and
that serious.
but the thing is this, bro. This has been happening for years. It didn't just start today.
Yeah.
Like we didn't start disagreeing today. I don't
Right.
understand. I never understand the I get the zeal. The zeal, anybody can understand the zeal. But when you start getting into anger, now you have to really start asking yourself, what are you angry about? What is the point of being angry? Like what are you angry for? Right? And so it's no different than an Islamic believer when you start telling them that all they did was plagiarize the Bible. They just took stuff out of it. And then once they had about 4% of the story, they just branched it off in whatever direction they wanted to go in. And it's like, bro, it's so easy to see that you plagiarized parts of it and then you filled in the blanks as you went. It's so simple. And I'm saying that to say this: I'm not leaving anybody out. We've talked about Jehovah Witness, Mormons, Islam, the Catholics. So I'm not leaving anybody out here. So,
But
this is
but
not about hold on a second, but I'm not pinpointing anybody. I'm showing a huge difference that the majority of these people believe what's going on when it comes to God. They all believe it the same way. And then there's this other side that don't believe in it the way they all believe in it. And it is unique or weird or different. That's what I'm pointing out. And so to come in someone's live and belittle them by saying cute soldier, now we're getting into an area where it's not about the topic. You're attacking somebody personally, which is clearly showing that the harnessing your emotions and belly effect is obviously starting to take hold. And so what's going to end up happening is when that's not simmer down, you get in your belly more, and more. And then before you know it, you're going to come into unforgiveness, or where you dislike this person so much you can no longer forgive them. So we all snap at each other and be like, dude, can you just be quiet? We all do that. Okay. But there's a difference between telling someone, hey, bro, can you just stop? There's a difference between that and actually getting in your belly to where you no longer, like, to the point where you like leave, any more moment of freedom. You don't want to move away from freedom. We're free. We're free. You don't want to move away from that and constantly feed in to your belly to the point where you get into a rage. That's just, it's just uncalled for. So obviously, your friend just, there's so many things that could be said about what just happened, and how quickly. I don't even know the guy, I don't even know the guy, and so, I don't know. Thank God we don't do that here, but it's clear that he does it a lot, because he's making it sound like he's defending. You're not defending. You're pulling out a rifle and shooting people who don't agree with you is what you're doing, and you don't see it. You're stoning people who have a different opinion of yours, and you don't see it. You're acting just like someone in the religion of Islam. If they don't agree, then we'll unalive them, and that's exactly what you're doing in your heart. You are hating the fact that what you are saying is that there's this something that's coming against it, and you're taking it personal, as though you yourself created the religion that you worship, and you did not create it. You've been sucked in and drawn into it. Yes, 100%. But to point your finger and be angry and upset at everybody. It's, is that how you would treat me if we were in the sandbox and I said, let me play with your Ninja Turtle, and I started playing with, you're going to hit me in the head with He-Man because I didn't give you your Ninja Turtle? That's exactly how you're acting, as though we're children, and we're not. And so it's okay to have a different of opinion. We all know, I think at this point, starting to learn each other a little bit more. And I have a friend, Renee, and like I said, a lot of people at this point should know who Renee is. And people make some ugly, snotty comments on her videos all the time, just like this guy is doing. And we're going to sit here and act like we don't know where that's coming from. I know exactly where it's coming from. There's no need for it. If you disagree with someone, matter of fact, you go too far by telling you disagree. Who cares? If you look at it as an adult, who cares if you disagree? like you're so entitled to your opinion that when you're not heard on the matter, you want to slam your finger and slam your hand on the table and stomp your feet because you're not being heard. That's an issue. That's a spiritual maturity issue. We don't have to act this way. I'm not talking about being perfect. Oh my Lord, you play back some of the videos. You'll be hearing me telling Dre, can you just be quiet already? That right there is imperfection. I'm not talking about being perfect. I'm talking about how far people go into their feelings, all the way to the point where they might as well just lay down and punch the floor and kick the ground with your feet, like a 8-year-old kid that doesn't get a candy bar at the grocery store. I'm saying when you start going that far, you're getting into something that it never should have been. It doesn't have to be that way. We can control ourselves a little bit. I will never say I've ever seen a human control themselves 100%, because you're not around them 24 hours. They may be able to control themselves for 5 hours, 8 hours, but you keep poking at people, sooner or later, they're going to say or do something that's imperfect. Even if they just say, man, just be quiet. That right there is imperfect. That's not perfect. But, I'm not talking about everybody needs to be perfect. I'm saying, when you feel as though that your view or opinion is so important that if you're not heard, you're going to personally attack people. That's what I'm talking about. That's too much. Too much it's nonsense.
Well, you know what I'm seeing too, though? It's like, just like you're mentioning, we're not out here to get nobody. We are talking about our beliefs. You've brought up from, our understanding and what we believe the Bible teaches, why these other places or religions are wrong, right? But to me, it's like we're supposed to love everyone, love our neighbor. But if you bring out a fact, a biblical fact from the Bible, and it hurts somebody's feelings, one, they call you and bigoted, or they tell you that you don't have no love in your heart, all because you're going against something that they strongly believe in. So now it's okay for them to attack back. You know, forget what the Bible says yet again about love and trying to respect each other and using soft words and, you know, to keep the peace. It's like, oh, you've really stepped on my toes here with what I believe in. So now it's okay for me to clap back.
Yeah, and
No,
it's just
but that's not
it's
it.
just too
That's
much.
not it. That's
Oh
not
no,
it.
you're good.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Trot. I'm trying to say this. His faith was challenged. Something that someone believed in all their life. And then someone who he respected, his friend, is challenging everything. Is shaking his soul foundation. And that can
Yeah, I
destroy
know. Well,
someone.
I
I
misunderstood. Let me
mean,
say this.
I'm not saying
No,
you're
no,
doing it. I'm not saying
no,
you're
no. Let
doing
me
it, Trot.
no. Hear me out. Listen, this is not about an individual, so don't misunderstand. I'm talking about everybody. I'm not talking about an individual. I want to make sure that that's clear. I know exactly what you're saying. I get it. Trust me. But I don't want to concentrate on an individual. I did bring the person up because I did want people to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. But the topic was not to stay on this individual. I'm saying overall, there's many people that I meet overall, and if they don't get their opinion heard, so at this point, I'm no longer talking about the individual. The individual did kind of start the conversation. I get that, but the problem with us is we continue to harp on one individual, and that's where it becomes a problem. So I'm not talking about what initiated the topic. I'm no longer talking about that. I'm saying that you see this happen all the time. It could be in anything. And when someone doesn't get their themselves heard, they start getting more angry and more angry. That's just a fact. And so there's nothing wrong with people in general challenging what you're saying. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is a time and place for it. And, you know, I always say on this live here, the Descaled Live, you know, today we just started off talking about places that Moses walked or Mount Sinai, you know, places that people are saying, oh, this is Mount Sinai. And then you'll have other people say, no, this is Mount Sinai. And we were just talking about how people may have differences of opinion on where physical locations of things are in the Bible. But overall, that's not what we are about, where the physical locations are. That's where we kind of started. And so
I understand.
it led into,
I understand, Trot.
yeah.
I understand
Well,
that.
no, I'm not. No, hold on, misunderstood. Hold on, I'm not talking to you directly right now. I'm again. There's 50 people in the room. I'm talking about everybody, not just you or not just a person that was up here. But let me say this real quick. Coptic Prince came in. I have no idea what they were. Well, you know, they may have a opinion on the matter or whatever. I don't know, but I was going to give that person a chance to say something. Coptic Prince, what's up?
Hi, peace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, of course, be with all of you. I came as ex-Muslim, and I became Christian, and obviously, I was just listening to you guys. Obviously, I'm Egyptian, just listening to a couple of conversations. I'm not sure if you said anything, but, you know, I think we can talk about, there's nothing wrong with talking about our differences in terms of what each one of us believes in. And at the end, we can agree to disagree without condemning one another anywhere else, right? Because as Christians, we need to always elaborate on what each other's beliefs are. But I think once somebody kind of condemns someone or says something that could be, you know, whether the Catholic Church found Islam, whether, you know, whatever it was, that can really hurt someone. I'm not Catholic, by the way. I'm a Coptic Orthodox Christian, okay? I'm not Eastern Orthodox. I'm Coptic Orthodox, right? There's a difference. So, you know, statements like that can hurt people, right? Because we're in the Middle East.
What kind of statements, Coptic?
Look, I wasn't here for the whole live, but what I've heard in the room was, you know, somebody said the Catholic Church found Islam, for example, right? And we know in the Middle East, the Christians there are being persecuted daily by Muslims, right? We're getting slaughtered, unalived, I should say, on the live. every day.
Yeah. Well, let me say
seeking.
this. Hey, Copley, let me say this real quick. So, have you ever been on this live before?
Never. This is my first time.
Right. So, the person that came in is in your same shoes. They've never been on this live before, and that was something that they said. So, yes, but just so you know, and that was matter of fact, the person's in the panel now. Go-To is the one that made that comment, but this person is just like yourself. It's not a familiar person that's been here. They made the statement on their own accord, and the majority of us on Descaled that are here every morning, we don't. That's not something we talk about. So every once in a while, we do kind of digress, and we just kind of give a break, because all we do on Descaled is we talk about Jesus in the Old Testament. That's like 90% of what we do. So every once in a while, we come off the course, and we talk about some other things, but we just do it for a little bit. And even if it's for one show, in comparison to percentage, it's still a small portion of the live. And today we just kind of went through a lot of avenues. So I understand exactly what you're saying. But if somebody comes up here and it's their first time and they're kind of just giving their idea on how they see things, that's on that person. It's not on the live. Right. So, yeah. So I can't control. No, you're good, man. You're good. I just wanted you to know that anytime I bring someone up and they say something, each person's going to have to take what they say, and defend what they said. I'm not going to defend anybody's belief myself. That's not the purpose of this. So, yes, obviously, when things are said, it could get somebody upset. Of course it could, but that still doesn't mean that that everyone is supposed to get upset to the point that they start trying to hurt someone's character or belittle them. When it starts getting to that point, well, then we're just a bunch of children in a sandbox again, not knowing how to play with one another. So it would remind me of, when I was 12, you don't think I remember somebody, you don't think I don't remember telling somebody something like, hey man, you've had my He-Man too long. And, and when we're young, we want to be heard even more, right? We get a little loud and we get a little antsy and we want our toy back. And so when I see someone that is supposed to be a grown adult, and I'm not talking about things in this world. I am right now as a kid, but I'm talking about the Bible. I'm saying when we're talking about the Bible or we're talking about God and people start acting like they're in the sandbox arguing over toys, I see an issue immediately. And it's just an issue that's not worth going any further down, because for whatever reason, that person is obviously not having a good day, right? That doesn't mean we can't talk to them tomorrow. It just means in the moment, they've kind of lost control, and we need to regroup, right? We need to conduct a rally and start over maybe tomorrow. And the problem is a lot of people don't recognize that, and they get offended. And so they start attacking and they start offending. And, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you say something and someone gets offended and they kind of attack you. Well, don't get offended if you get attacked back. I was always raised that if you can't dish it out, then you better, if you can't receive the dishing, you better not dish it out. I've been taught that since I was a kid. So, hold on a second. I'm sorry. Oh.
Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Hello?
Yeah, my bad, bro. I just, how long have you been?
Let me.
Yeah,
it's all good. Look, I just want to say
ahead.
this. I want to make this very, very public, and I want this to be a fact, bro. Everybody here could contest. Like Trot just said, is absolutely correct. Go-To came in here. He gave his opinion. This is the first time he comes on our live. He's never been on our show. He said what he said, and we can't control what people say when they come on lives. Period, point blank, the end. None of us on this panel ever said anything bad about the Catholic Church. We never offended anybody from the Catholic Church. We never attacked the Catholic Church. We have our differences, and Coptic, as you know, you have your differences with the Catholic Church as well, and that is okay to share your differences, bro, without offending. So when somebody, and Andrew, let me hold on, Coptic, let me say this. Andrew James, as you know, is a close, good friend of mine, and I know he's really upset. because he heard something that is just not true, bro. And the fact that somebody else said something is not on me or on Trot or anybody on this live. What somebody said is what they said, bro. And all we can do is keep moving and talk about Jesus, because that's what we do on our live. We talk about the shadows of Christ in the Old Testament. And if anybody wants to learn about Jesus and see Jesus in the Old Testament, like Luke says, when Luke and when Jesus tells the disciples, and Luke says, hey, do you not know that Moses, the prophets, and the Psalms all contest of me? That's what we talk about on this live. We talk about Jesus. Yes, we digress. Every once in a while, we'll talk about football and this and that. And it's random people come up here all the time. People say Jesus isn't God. They do some random crazy stuff, bro. All we do is just be like, oh, okay, no problem. And we keep it moving and do our agenda, which is preach Jesus. So I'm just kind of upset in a sense because, James got information like as if we were talking bad about.
No, he came in like me, Dre. He came in like me and he got the wrong message, right? We don't know who's talking, right? We don't know if, you can't really blame us, but as I said, I'm not Catholic, right? And you know what happened 3 weeks ago, right? So I'm not Catholic, and I've got odd views with the Catholic Church, no problem. But, we came in the live and then all of a sudden we heard, the guy talk. But now that I understand, obviously James will understand too, bro. So I like you, Dre. I think you're very
well. Let me say
biblically, and I think you're very smart in terms of scripture. I'll give you that. And in the end of the day, we just got to all remember that, I like discussing differences. I really, really do. I enjoy it. But we got to do it in a way where, without trying to.
It's fruitful in a way that it's fruitful.
Like I can say I don't believe in conception.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this real quick, Copti, because the other side of it is you have responsibility too. Okay. And so your responsibility as an adult is to take in information one step at a time and to make sure that you know what was said, how it was said before you present anything. So, and I say this all the time, we see TikTok videos, and I'll use the most obvious ones where a 20-second clip of a police officer, you see a 20-second clip of a police officer doing something, and then there's riots in the streets. And then 2-3 months later, we find out the whole story. But everybody jumped to conclusions on 20 seconds. And this is what it kind of happened. People heard something, not sure, but then when the rest of it is presented, everybody's calmed down, which means we need to start off calm and not assuming that this live is doing this and doing that. That's an issue right there. It should not be taken to the point where that people are jumping to conclusions that these things are happening, and now it has to be explained. We're not defending ourselves. I'm sitting here looking at why someone's only looking at 20 seconds of a clip and not the whole video, right? So it goes both ways, but this live had nothing to do with that 20-second clip. It had nothing to do with it. It's all based on perception, how you perceive and the portion that you heard. That's why the Bible says to be slow to speak, because sometimes people think that they heard something and they speak so speedily. They didn't give time a chance. Sometimes you got to give time a chance so you can understand all the facts, right? So I'm glad this happened, because it just gave me another opportunity to talk about it. But it's just sad that things get blown out of proportion because of the individual's mind, not because of something that actually did happen. Just because someone came up here and said something, the attack to be on the live itself is just not a true character of what occurred. So, I think it'd be best for everybody, and I will always continue to bring up these 20-second clips that you're given on TikTok, and these, all it does is move your emotions, and then it's not even the full story. And so I think the full story is important before jumping to conclusions happens, not after, right? So I'm kind of glad it happened, because I'll keep mentioning this, because obviously every month, something is going to happen. But, giving everybody a benefit of the doubt before, of course, the individual that came up here attacking the way that he did, which I'm fine. Trust me, I'm not even in a bad mood about it. I really don't care. But again, all it does is bring to light that people can easily get in their emotions over a 20-second clip and not understand the entirety of what was actually occurring. So, but you know, it is what it is, and that's why on this show, the whole motive is just to talk about Jesus. And so there's people on TikTok that, you know, I don't know how long you guys, Coptic, I don't know how long you or Andrew been on TikTok, but I'm hoping maybe y'all just got on here last month, maybe, because if you've been on here for a year, y'all should already know. Y'all should already know how TikTok is, you know.
I haven't been here for a year. I just come on to destroy Islam. That's my number one aim, and obviously to preach our Lord and Savior, the God of God, the triune God, and obviously I preach what Jesus Christ did for all of us. So that's what I do. Obviously, we've got a lot of different Christian denominations that want to discuss differences. I enjoy it. Again, I know a lot of people told me I'm not allowed to talk about the differences. That's fine. I agree. For sensitivity, because people get upset quite quickly. So, you know, and that's it. You know what I mean? That's what I'll say. Nothing more, nothing less. But God bless you, bro. And
absolutely.
You know, and Jesus, in the end of the day, is God. He's the King of Kings. Trinity is truth. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Three persons in the one essence. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So God bless everybody, guys.
So can I
God
share
bless
something
you,
about
bro.
Jesus
God bless you,
in
bro.
the Old Testament? Yeah, God bless.
Would you say go to?
Oh yeah, I just was gonna share something neat about Jesus, finding Jesus in the Old Testament.
Is my microphone working?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah, Dre, I can
it's
hear
just
you.
everyone's talking. Boo.
Oh, okay. So Jesus in Greek is Iesus, which comes from the Hebrew word Yahoshua, and the root words of Yahoshua is Jehovah, self-existent eternal Jehovah, and then saves. So Yahoo and then Shua. So anyways, even the name Jesus in Greek points back to Jehovah that saves. So that is how you can easily find Jesus in the Old Testament.
I feel the need of singing the song "Staying Alive, Staying Alive." Ha ha.
Yeah,
ha,
I was like
ha,
it's awkwardly
staying
silent all of a
alive.
sudden.
Thanks for that.
But, so it's kind of cool. Yahoshua. Yeah, Jehovah that saves. So, kind of cool.
Yeah, so we didn't talk about any shadows today. I think we got sidetracked
Yeah,
with
what
a
are
whole
you
bunch
doing,
of
bud?
stuff.
No, we didn't get sidetracked, bro. It's going to happen, right? It's just a matter of time to where digressions occur, and to be honest.
No.
Sometimes it's needed. I wasn't here, but you know, I was being blessed. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just saying that it's not a big deal. Like, we can try to act like we don't live in this world all we want, but it's not true. We are here. And so there's always going to be misunderstandings. There's always going to be people that get offended by the faults. It's going to happen, man. And our job is to be able to notice that, okay, so here comes this big offense. This person's offended. And then you have to be honest with yourself. You know, what are they offended about? You have to be honest with yourself. What's the offense here? Like, you have to be able to tell the person, bro, what you're claiming you're mad about is not worth it. The way you're acting, it's not worth it. I don't understand, it's so easy for me to see. Again, I say this all the time. I can't tell you how many times y'all have heard me and Dre wear y'all out with junk that y'all don't care about. You know, Barry Sanders, the Barricade, the Asian restaurant, or what? Not Asian restaurant, but the buffet restaurant, and and Dre's like, bro, there's no way it's 25,000. I'm like, bro, I'm being sarcastic. I'm not being serious. I would rather, because see, those things you don't understand. Those things build. If you don't understand that, when the things of this world is causing, and I'm not talking about religion or politics, I'm talking about simple things like there ain't no way that building is 25,000 square feet. If you don't understand that that's what's helping you and the other person grow in a relationship, because you're hearing each other out, because you don't understand why is he saying 25,000 square feet and it's actually 10,000 square feet. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, when you start understanding the person, that they're being sarcastic, that they're over exaggerating just to prove the point that this place is big. That's all the person is saying. But when you're not used to that, you're like, no, it's not. And so you're getting to learn the person. Eventually, it won't be as often. Like, you won't call that person out as often because you're going to learn, oh, okay, well, Texas, everything's bigger in Texas, and he's everything 25,000 square feet. When you're born and raised that way, there are people that are going to say, hey, well, why are you saying, that? But here in Texas, nobody's like nitpicking, hey, bro, why'd you say? They understand the sarcasm and they just laugh with you. They understand what you're trying to say. They're not saying that the place has to be. But when you first meet people, those kind of things build cohesion. But what the problem is, people make a mistake is they try to use the Bible and politics to build cohesion before you know the person. For some people, it takes way too long to figure out. It's going to ruin your relationship. If you try to talk about religion and politics before you become someone's friend, if you still ain't learned that yet, boy, I don't know how many more years you need to learn that is not the first thing you start talking to people about. The first thing you start talking to people about is, hello, my name is so, how are you? And you just talk to them and be their friend. That's the first thing you talk to people about. If they want to talk to you about religion or politics the first day that they meet you, if you don't know how to draw that line and say, hey, to be honest with you, I just met you yesterday, so I don't mind getting to know you. If you don't know how to do that and become someone's friend, that means you don't care to be their friend. But God does care to be people's friend, and he talks to people in a timely manner. He knows to use discernment when to bring something up to someone. And you know when that is? When they're allowed to. Not when they have their guard up and they're ready to fight you on everything you have to say. And this is why those type of discussions don't happen on Descaled, because I don't know any of y'all. Do you understand? I don't know y'all, but I'm going to be myself as much as I can. And if people want to be a friend, then we can be a friend. So until then, the one thing I am going to talk about is Jesus. People will say that's a religion, but it is not. He's the truth 100%. So I talk about Jesus only. But I'm saying out here in the world, not on TikTok, in the world, when you meet someone face to face, you should not be trying to talk to them about any type of religion when you first meet them. It's okay. You can just be their friend. What's so hard about that? It's not hard. This is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Slow down. Okay. And so on TikTok, obviously, a huge problem is buyers to be anybody's friend, because everybody is each other's savior and I'm going to save the world. Well, Jesus didn't force himself on anybody. Okay. So our job should be very simple, to be people's friends. And if they want to discuss things of religion and politics, then that's fine. But if you think that's going to be the first thing you talk about and everything's going to be perfect, it's not. But if that's who you are and you like to talk about religion and politics when you first meet people, eventually you're going to meet some friends. But just don't be upset why everybody's butting heads. Don't be upset, because it's going to occur. No big deal. Just like it occurs every day, especially on this app. Doug, what's going on, man?
Hey, brother. What's up, sisters? How y'all doing? Hey, they missed the point, man. We say everything is bigger in Texas, right? Even our exaggerations.
Oh, it is.
Right?
100%.
Yeah, love you
Understood.
guys.
Yeah, brother.
We got to link up and talk about Montgomery, Alabama. You know that, right? That's a conversation we need to have for sure, but we'll have it offline, I guess.
Okay.
Well, happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Trot.
Happy Monday to you, fellas.
Is your friend Renee the one who wanted to teach the angel study?
Yep, that's her.
Okay. No, because I
That's
was in
who
the
I'm
live
asking.
last night and she was teaching it. That's why I was asking. I wanted to confirm.
Yeah, she's supposed to be, she wanted to teach it here, and we just haven't gotten around to it. Been having too much stuff going on, and she sent me some of the material. I did look it over, but nothing was confirmed. I was supposed to get with her last week, but it's just, I got so much stuff going on. Kids going to college and stuff. I'm headed down to Tulsa this weekend, probably leaving on Thursday to drop off my daughter at school. And I was gonna try to link up with Trot, but it's probably not gonna happen just because the day she's checking into school, it's just not gonna work out. But
Are you excited for her to go to college?
well, I am and I'm not, because she was at Howard. Like, she was a 4.3 student in high school.
She
She
was
got
at
accepted.
she went to Howard? Oh, she was
She was
accepted. Okay.
No, she went to Howard her freshman year, and then she ended up wanting to leave Howard, which I don't understand why she wanted to leave Howard, but she wanted to leave Howard because she wanted to go to Oral Roberts University and pursue ministry. But she could have did that at Howard, and I think obviously it's a way more prestigious school. But her boyfriend is going to Oral Roberts as well, so I'm like, you're throwing away like the best education to go to Oral Roberts. Like, it's very upsetting.
Yes. I
Very
can
upsetting.
imagine, but it's for a man, and see some women. That's a whole other conversation we'll have offline too.
Yep, but she's the good thing is she's still going to school. I can't complain. She's going to college.
Absolutely.
She wants to pursue ministry, so I'm not really upset about that. It's just I just wish, she worked
Her
so hard to get
reasoning.
into Howard, so hard to get into Howard, just to like
It's just
not
her
stay there.
reasoning behind it is the issue you're having with it, and I understand.
Yeah, you're talking about like an Ivy League HBCU. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my whole family, obviously my wife's family is very upset. My father-in-law was like, he still can't believe she's leaving Howard.
Oh yes, because that's Howard. I mean, you heard me when I said it. She got into Howard. That's wow.
Yeah.
That's
She
a
was like
blessing.
one of like 5 in Colorado that got into Howard. So, Felicia Rashard pinned her on her freshman year, like on the field, and it's just a lot of clout. And she's just like, she just didn't. I don't know, man. I try not to think about it because I'm gonna get in my belly and my emotions.
But in this instance, you being her father and you wanting the best for her, I mean, I know it's her own path that she has to go down, but how you can still be disturbed about it because
I think she'll regret it.
we
I think
don't
she'll
know.
regret it. I think she'll
Yes,
regret it
absolutely.
later on. I think she'll regret it. Yeah. But, it is what it is, man. Everybody has to make their own decisions. We say on the live, and Trot said a gazillion times, like, all you got to do is, like, you can give people have to make their own decisions, man. You can't make decisions for them. And at the end of the day, she is an adult. I can give her what I think is the right path. But at the end of the day, she has to make her decision. And then, you just support them through it. And it is what it is. And I got to try very hard to not be, as my wife calls, Petty LaBelle, later on when she's like, man, I should have stayed at Howard. I'm like, I told you. I'm trying not to say I told you so. But it it is what it is,
Oh,
man.
I can imagine that conversation. It would be a little bit different because I know me, and I'm right along with you. I would be pushing the other way. I would be pushing back just a little bit
What are y'all
because
talking
I
about?
yeah, you
We're
know.
talking about college kids or young adults making decisions that probably
Ugh.
are not the wisest, but you know, you got to kind of give them the facts and then let them make their decision. I can't really force anybody to do anything, you know?
Yeah, man. No, when it comes to, oh my Lord, dude, like obviously it's hard because you're like, wait a minute, I can see this, and they're like, I want to do this, and you're like, what in the world? What is that? And so I hate to say it, I hate to say it, but the quicker that they fail themselves, the quicker they will learn to slow down and make better decisions. Because if you're constantly saving them, then when that day does happen, that there's this like, you know, a loss rather than a win, and they do it later in life, Bubba, it will tornado spiral. You know, like Mike Tyson. Bubba, Mike Tyson ain't used to losing. Dude, they used to losing. He loses one fight, and he spiraled down so fast, it made your head spin. How fast he spiraled down. He didn't know how to recover from it. And it's so clear he is not used to losing. And, you know, years later, you can kind of hear Mike Tyson tell his side of the story, and he words it a bit different, but he's still saying the same thing, but he just words it a little bit different. But that's just one case. But failing at an older age is harder to recover from than when you learn how to fail at a young age. And so, man, the sooner you can take off the reins and say, here's your choices, which one do you want to do? And then you're like, and they're like, and it could be a family member. And they're like, well, you know, mom or dad, what do you think I should do? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, we're here. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. I personally, this is what I would do. But if you do that, then that means you're doing it because I'm telling you to do it. No. What do you want to do? And then they're either going to kick themselves in the butt for making the wrong choice, or they're going to learn, hey, you know what? I put a lot of time and effort, thought into it, and this is what I want to do. Okay, well.
Yeah. So like my daughter tried, she did her freshman year at Howard University, which is like an Ivy League HBCU. It's very hard to get in. She had like a 4.3 coming out of high school. She did like magnet programs, college courses. She had the medical program under her belt. And then she ended up falling, I guess, like getting a boyfriend. He's a good kid. He's a Christian kid, you know, and they really like each other. And, you know, he's going to FAU and he's a family friend or whatever. So we know him well. Like he's not a bad kid. Christian kid, parents are good, you know, whatever. But they both decided that they're just gonna quit, you know, his career in basically in marketing. Great, he was doing really good down there at FIU in Miami, and she was at Howard. And they were like, you know what? Let's just both quit what we're doing and go to Oral Roberts University and pursue ministry. Yay! So his family's like, no.
He quit.
And my family's like, no. Everybody's like, what are y'all doing? Like, come on, man. Like, you can still, like patience. You know, it's hard to tell an 18-year-old, like, patience. If it's real, man. Just be patient.
Yeah,
but,
I'll say something about something that stuck out to me. And this is not, I'm not saying you said it. I'm just saying something that just came to me, you know, because something I've noticed, you know, and when it comes to people that are wanting to get married and they're, you know, young, they're going to school, and this is where people will say, well, I disagree. And here comes, you want to talk about a very opinionated topic? I'll finally bring one up, but I'm only bringing it up, obviously, because there's 4 minutes left. But so you can hold your opinion to yourself then. But the point is, and it's not easy to say, and I know a lot of people don't like it because every time I tell people, they get upset. But so you're dating somebody, right? And you're young, and it sounds good. It sounds good to go to church with this person. It sounds good to read the Bible with them and to talk to God with them. Trust me, it sounds in your ear, in your mind, like this has to be true. But I tell you that nothing could be further from the truth. When you are dating someone, you are not supposed to be going to church, reading the Bible. You're not supposed to be doing those things. They have to be doing those things on their own, not with you. Because what people don't understand is, and this is why so strongly I talk about emotions and belly, is because when you start having an intimate relationship with God and you start sharing that with this person, I shouldn't have to finish that, but I will. When you start sharing your intimacy with the Lord, with someone that you're not married to, your flesh can be easily persuaded to marry this person. Because the intimacy that you're using with God, you're sharing it with someone that you don't have a covenant with. And you will automatically have this urge or a feeling to be in covenant with this one person because you're not realizing that the intimacy that you're feeling with the Lord is towards the Lord only. Your flesh is going to make you believe it's towards this person because they're there when you're having encounters with the Lord. So when people say, well, I disagree, then fine, you disagree. I guarantee you I'm not arguing about it.
No,
Nor
I agree
am I
with you
debating about it.
100%. I agree with you.
And
100%.
and I hate to say it, man, I really do, but I'm telling you right now, a majority of younger kids who are Christians, they get caught up in that, end up marrying this person, and it was based on their intimacy with God. It was not based on their intimacy with this person. And so it's not wise at all. If that person has a relationship with the Lord, they can go worship Jesus by themselves, just like you worship Jesus by yourself, and keep your intimacy with the Lord between you and the Lord. And when this person says, hey, will you go to church with me? Say, I'll tell you what, man, I can go to church with you and hear the pastor, but you say yes to that when you understand this. There's people that don't understand this, and they go to church before you know it, they're in Bible studies with them. And what's happening is the God is being used. It doesn't matter who it is, but God is being used in the way that it's not meant to be that way. Our emotions towards the Lord are not supposed to be used to somehow like get another person to be what's the word, like meshed. Again, we don't have a covenant with this person. We are not married to this person. Therefore, my relationship is between me and God. Now, if this person decides that they want to marry me, then obviously you go to church with that person. Obviously you read the Bible with that person, but not before. It's a huge mistake. It's not before. So
agreed.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So tomorrow, what do you want to talk about tomorrow? I could have swore I had something, bro, that we missed or something. Oh, by the way, I think I uploaded like 2 or 3 videos.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah, I uploaded
Trot's
2 or
out
3
here.
Do what?
I said Trot's out here.
What? Where am I at?
You're getting stuff done, my guy.
Oh, well, I'm learning how to do it. Like, at first, it was like, Dre's like, oh, man, it's easy, man. You just get on there and you... And I'm like, what? You want me to do
Speak
what,
German
bro?
to you?
Yeah, bro. So I kind of have a rhythm. I don't think it's the quickest and best rhythm, but it's working so far. So
yeah, that's good.
And I counted all the videos. I counted all the videos that need to be uploaded. Dude, there's like 20 more.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's a lot.
now I'm about halfway there now. So I got about 20 more. And I think when those 20 are done, I'm going to have another 10 more because that's how many more are going to be there after I'm finally done with.
Hey, I'm about to drop down. I gotta go to work.
Adios,
but,
bud.
God bless y'all.
God bless.
Yeah. I'll text you some of the stuff that I was thinking we can jump on shadows in the Old Testament and New Testament. But I'll send you a text message here soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, bro.
I was looking at the comment. Yeah, I was looking at the comments, and it says, let's see, the Eden Quest said, who was that Trot who said that? That said what? The Eden Quest. What was said that if you're asking if I said it?
It probably was Trot.
Well, I don't know. I want to know what I want to know what it was he's talking about.
I know.
Maybe they haven't been here. Well, obviously they haven't, right? Because they don't recognize the voice at the moment.
Yeah. Have we gone through Noah or Seth as a shadow?
I want to say we've probably done Noah.
We did do Noah, the ark. We did the ark.
The ark, but did we do like Noah, just him as a person?
We did.
I don't know. Let me see.
We did his
the Eden
nakedness.
Quest.
We did the nakedness of Noah. We did
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay. I don't know. We'll look at it. CJ, if there's something about Noah you want to talk about, bro, write it down.
Okay.
And so you can be more specific. So she said about sharing the. Hold on, Jess. Hold on a second. Let me get to this question. You're right. About sharing the gospel with someone, spouse issue. Yes, that was me. That was Trot that said that. Yes, 100%. Well, it says about sharing the gospel with someone, spouse issue. Yeah, I hope you heard me correctly. I'm not talking about your spouse. I'm talking about someone that, like, if you had just met someone, the first thing that y'all need to be doing is not going to church. That's what I'm saying. If you just meet someone, you just need to
together.
Yes.
Because some people would probably misunderstand that. So
yeah, I'm talking about you don't need to be going to church with that person. So just in context, it should not be hard to see what I'm saying. I'm not telling you when you meet someone for you not to, that wouldn't even make any sense, right? Because I'm talking about you meeting someone. So in context, if you meet someone you're dating, it makes no sense for you to be going to church with that person. And it may not be easy to see at first, but if you understand how a lot of people are when it comes to God, some people get very emotional. And the truth is, we are not supposed to be like that, but that's another subject. But you cannot allow the intimacy that you have with Christ, you cannot allow that to be shared with someone you just met yesterday. It makes no sense. This is how people easily get manipulated, taken advantage of, because you're turning your intimacy that you have with God, and you may not be doing it on purpose, but I'm sitting here telling you, that intimacy is becoming the both of y'all. You know why? Because y'all are both having the moment together. And psychologically, you will start feeling obligated to be with this person more. And it's because of the encounter that you're having with God, and you're sharing your relationship with someone that you are not in covenant with. So you have to be very careful with this. And for anyone that knows someone that just let me see. Well, we were going to get off. I guess we'll stay on a few more minutes. The Eden Quest. Oh, Jess, go ahead, Jess. Jess, go ahead.
Yeah,
What's up, Jess?
we haven't gone through the transfiguration, right, in the New Testament when Jesus went up to the mountain with John and was it Peter?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I know that I've been over it dozens times, but I don't. Maybe you can ask us.
I'll ask
on Eden.
I
don't know if we have.
I don't think we have on here the transfiguration because that's in the New Testament, and I know what we've gone through on the New Testament. I don't remember us touching the transfiguration.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if you want to do that.
Some of the, just DM some of the people and see. I don't recall if we have or not on here. The Eden request. What's up?
Hey, yeah, I just put that in parentheses as a reference to the question, but I totally get it and I love that. And I'm really glad you brought it up, actually.
Yeah, no, man, it is so. I could talk on. I ain't kidding. I can talk about it for probably 2 days straight, nonstop. I mean, I try not to, because I try to focus on this descaled show on Christ in the Old Testament. But I understand that Every once in a while, there's some things that we're going to digress about, and that just happened to be one of them that popped in my head based on what Dre was talking about.
Yeah, I'm not a kid or anything, but it really rang true for me because I was personally having this issue not that long ago, and I was praying to God. I said, what is this? Something's not right here. And I told him, I was like, something isn't right. It doesn't feel right inside. And you know when something doesn't feel right. And I was like, Lord, what is it? Why is this every time I'm talking to this person now that I feel this specific way and it doesn't feel right? And you just hit the nail on the head right there when you mentioned it. And I hadn't heard that before. So
yeah, and there's a lot of people that's going to be with you, and I understand 100%. I get it. Yeah. Why wouldn't you, right? It would seem like, what? God is the most important thing, but you're not, and not you, but figuratively a person, right? When I say you. Yeah. So, a person is not 100%. They obviously are not clearly seeing how important our relationship is with God. They're not seeing it. And so if you do have a man or a woman, whichever one, that wants to take advantage of the other one, what easier way?
Yeah,
easier way than say, let's go to church.
I was so disturbed by the way I felt. Like every time I had a conversation, I would pray to God. I was like, can you please take this person away? They're getting in between me and you somehow, and I don't understand how. This makes so much sense.
Yeah, and it just, again, just to get to the nucleus of what I'm really trying to say is intimacy with the Lord is yours individually until you make a covenant with another person. And so when you make that covenant, obviously y'all two become one, but y'all become one under the covenant of Christ. And so to put that kind of relationship and that kind of mindset to someone you just met is 100% false. And it will lead people to make decisions based on the intimacy you have with Christ rather than you getting to know the person. You need to get to know this person. You need to sit down with yourself and say, and I hate to say that, but I tell people all the time, you need to have a debriefing.
Yeah, no.
In the military, after a training event is done, everybody gets together and we have a debriefing. Say, hey, George, I'm just naming first names, but I'm like, hey, George, just to let you know, I think you did a horrible job. And you should have not done this. You got everybody killed on the left flank over here. And it's just talking about what just happened. And I'm telling you, if you don't do this after a date, you are failing yourself. You need to sit in front of the mirror and say, okay, this happened. When he said this, I reacted this way. Or when she said this, I did that. You know what? I think I need to do better there. Everybody needs to give themselves some debriefings. And in that debriefing, it's very simple. Hey, look, this person is not my husband or not my wife. There is no obligation to go on a second date, and if I do go on a second date, well, what do I feel comfortable doing with this person? And church should not, now you should be learning if they go to church or not. Do they go to church? If they do they serve there? Do they minister to people? What are they doing? Yeah. So if they go, hey, I've been going to this church for 3 months, man, you want to come? You've only been going there for 3 months? Why? How come you ain't been at a church for a year? What's going on? Why? Yeah. And you want me to go to that church with you? No, I better not. You better not. You tell them, no, I'm going to go to my church. Oh, well, maybe I should go to church with you. No, not right now. No, I don't know you. No, you need to give yourself a chance to get to know the person. And your intimacy with Christ is yours. And, but again,
that's good. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the last question I'm going to answer, and then we're going to bounce off. Let me see. Danielle Marie Green. Okay, Trot, can someone contaminate someone else's energy from a touch or a vibe? Well, I'm not going to call it energy, but I'll just say this. If I meet somebody for the first time and all they're doing is screaming and I just met them, we better be at a Ranger game. Like, it needs to make sense why this extra energy, like, why are you yelling? Oh, because you're rooting on the batter. But if I meet this person at a book club, and they're aggravated and yelling at me, and I just met them 5 minutes ago, well, you keep putting yourself around this person, obviously, birds of a feather flock together. So that means maybe you like it that people act like that, you know? So you're constantly putting yourself around people that want to be better people. If you want to use the word energy, that's fine. We can use that. So basically, if people have a very negative, poor attitude / energy, and you don't want to have that kind of quote unquote energy, then don't be around that type of person. You need to go be around someone that is very motivative and very persistent and moving forward in their life and not looking back. Right. So test the spirit. And by the way, testing the spirit is not tempting someone to sin. I don't know who is pressing this, but I see it more and more, especially on TikTok, where people are on purpose poking at you to see if they can get you in your feelings. And if you get in your feelings, they may not use the words, but they're treating it like, oh, well, look how they're acting. But yet they're the ones that's been tempting you for 2 days, 3 days, 4 weeks. And so God would never test someone's spirit by tempting to sin. That is a complete farce. That is a lie that does not come from God. Satan is the only one that tempts people to sin, not God. So when God says test the spirit, it's not talking about to see if they sin or not. That's not what it's talking about. Testing the spirit, all you have to do is talk to them about the Bible and see what it is they're claiming that the Bible says. And also that's the fruit of the person. What are they saying? When they talk about the Bible, are they only a motivational speaker? Do they only say things like, and David beat Goliath just like you can defeat all the Goliaths in your life? And I was trying to get this house, and finally we got this house, and it didn't look like that we were going to get this house, and I defeated a Goliath. No, that's not what the story, David and Goliath. A motivational speaker who doesn't have the spirit, that's all they see. But a man of God sees something completely different, which is the gospel in that story. A man of God sees that David is love and conquered Goliath, who is exile, which was us. So love conquered exile. Christ defeated sin in his flesh because our flesh was exiled. So he took the punishment. That's what a man of God sees in the story. But a motivational speaker who is upholding a name, preacher, teacher, a man of God, he just sees motivational speeches. So I don't like to use the word energy because that's more of like a motivational speaker's persona to use energy, but I will use it because I understand how people understand that word. But the truth is, put yourself around people that are positive. That's really a no-brainer. But obviously the number one foundation of a person should be Christ. And then that's who you put yourself around, because we're in this world, but we're not of this world. Yeah, CJ, I see some of those, bro. I saw some of them that you had up there. Guys, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get off. I will see y'all in the morning. I apologize that it's... Oh, what's up? Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say I love how you said we're exiled, and that's beautiful. That's something that isn't said enough. That we're exiled and we need to reconcile our relationship. So God bless. That was a great
so
word.
And just to clarify, those who are saved are no longer in exile, right? Because we received the love that God gave us. But for those who are not saved and who are not born again, they are still in exile. They are still barren and living in a desolate land because Eden is not in their heart, which is pleasant, right? Eden means pleasant. Jesus is the begotten Son who he is pleased, who he is well pleased with. Jesus is Eden, the good ground, right? So anyway, somebody else was going to say something. Who was it?
You like this one?
Well, I can't see it. Put the name up there so I can see the name. Let me see the name. Oh, let me see the picture. Oh, man, that's a good card.
That's so old.
Oh, that's a good card, dude.
Yeah.
You got me on here talking about cards now.
All right, we can go.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Where did I think Misunderstood wanted to say something. She hopped out. Does anybody want to say anything before we bounce?
I'm good.
What if you meet them in church?
Yeah, someone asked that earlier. I don't think the question was addressed.
Yeah, nothing changes. Nothing changes because the point is not stopping them from going to church. The point is not transitioning your intimacy with God with someone else being there that you don't have that you're not in covenant with. Okay, so if you meet somebody, what in the world? So if you meet somebody, I see what it is. If you meet somebody that is already in church, let me ask, here's the better question. What's the rush on, like, quote unquote, being right there with them? What's the rush? Trust me, your life is not worth rushing into. It's not worth it. So if you and this person is going to work out, it's going to work out regardless if y'all sit down and become intimate with God together. So this whole thing about holding hands and praying together, you are not in covenant with this person. If you meet them in church, they can still sit over there and you can still sit where you were sitting and y'all can have y'all's individual intimacy with Christ. You don't have to be together. You are not in covenant with this person. So trying to establish a relationship with God as the intimacy, I'm telling you, what you're doing is you're emotionally becoming connected to this person, but you're doing it self-consciously. You're doing it through Christ. Because remember, your relationship with Christ is what's important. And so when you take something, you have to understand Christ has your heart. So if you're the person that is saved and he has your heart, what kind of doors are you opening up to this person that you don't even know? And you're allowing yourself, you're allowing the open door policy that you have with Jesus, you're allowing that to become this intimate thing with this person. And you just met him yesterday or a week ago. So,
Can I say
of
something
course.
real quick? I
Yeah.
went to Bible college for 4 years. I graduated. The number one thing they used to tell us from the moment you walked in as a freshman, exactly what you just said. And then they would turn around and say, go ahead and marry that person. And these are the statistics of divorce that come out of Bible college.
Okay.
Extremely high because of what you're saying. Because they went into a emotional covenant with this person, and it was all so great while you're in that glass bubble. But when you walked out of that glass bubble, you got married and you moved forward, you didn't have a relationship with God. You had it with that person. And when the rocky times came, you didn't have the foundation that you needed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll just say this. I know it may seem backwards, right? Like, wait a minute, but shouldn't you start a relationship? No, you should not. No, every person has to have their personal relationship and foundation with Christ. Every person. And so you're looking for a person that already has that, but that doesn't mean when you meet them that somehow y'all need to start a covenant with that. That is not true. You start a covenant with that when y'all are married and y'all actually start a covenant. A covenant doesn't start when you just meet. So if a covenant doesn't start when you just meet, that person is not in relationship with you in Christ. It's just you. So don't invite them in that area of your life. You need to keep that type of intimacy with Christ, not allow someone else, regardless of how you feel. It's not about feelings. So you need to focus on getting to know that person. And if they just want to talk about God all the time, you need to see that as a red flag. You're trying to get to know them. I want to meet your family. What did you do when you were a kid? What kind of person are you? I'm telling you, that is a focus. And once you start getting to know what kind of person you're dealing with, I'm not talking about whether they're a bad or good person. I'm talking about personality, whether or not you'll even get along with them a little bit. Those things you need to know. You know, what do they do that gets on your nerves? It's okay to know those things. You don't use those to hold it against them, not to marry them, but you need to know, because obviously if you met them in church, bro, they're already doing that without you. They don't need, if they're already going to church, they don't need you right now. Y'all are not married. So, you know, it's just something to think about if you know someone that is, yeah, Green. No, you're welcome. You're all good, man. We just, I don't know where she went. Big, you got something to say real quick? We really need to go.
No. Go ahead, man. I'll just get at you later.
Well, no, man. Bring it up real quick. What's up?
Oh, I was gonna say, you know, I put it in the comments, but and I don't know. Like I said, I've only been following you for about 3-4 weeks. But did you ever go over Enoch at all?
I don't know. Jess, did we go over Enoch?
I think so, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, so. I've talked about Enoch forever, but I don't know if I've done it on Descaled.
No, you talked about him. I mean, I think you mentioned that he was the grandfather, great grandfather of Noah and that kind of stuff. But I don't think we went into like his story of how, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Enoch's a real short story. I don't remember.
Extremely short.
I mean, there's a lot I can say about Enoch. I just don't recall if I done it on Descaled or not. But keep that in your notes, Big. That way, when we're kind of scanning for what to go over, that can be one of them. Doug, what's up, man? Yo, go ahead.
The reason why I was going to say, the reason why I was asking that is just, you know, that sermon I sent you the other day, and you know, it'd just be cool to you know, to get the spiritualized version. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it. Trust me. Yeah, I get it. But I don't recall if we did it on this show or not. But Doug, what's up, man? You got something to say before we go?
No, brother, I'm good.
You're good. All right. Hey, man, we went over a little bit, but it's okay. We do every once in a while. Oh, I'm sorry. Go to. You got something? Taylor, one of y'all?
I was just going to ask. I sent it to Dre, too, just in case I didn't catch you now. But I was wondering if we could go over 1 Samuel 6 tomorrow, the return of the Ark of the Covenant to Israel.
1 Samuel 6?
Mm-hmm.
Of course we can.
Okay.
Yep, we'll go over it.
You're plowing with his heifer on that one.
Yeah. Well, CJ's always got something to say. The Eden Quest. Right. The Eden Quest. You got one last thing you want to say before we go?
No, just God bless you all. Love you all. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys. See y'all in the morning. Same time. 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Time. So Central Time, 7:30 a.m. See y'all in the morning. God bless.
Same back
God bless.